Sped.com.
What is up? Welcome back to Drinkin Bros Sports College Hoops, episode 10. Are we on 10? I forgot to change the number. 11.
Yeah.
Shit, I don't change the heading ever on my doc. Welcome back to another week of College Hoops. We're a little late because Austin, Texas is super duper fucking incompetent at dealing with weather in any way whatsoever. So power has been out here. Roads are still not really clear. My wife is literally texting me right now being like, please come home. Why are you still out? It will be dark soon. And I guess like the wolves or something will come. I don't know.
Yeah, those night people from I Am Legend are going to just hunt you down.
Yeah, but we're here today. We finally got shit working again. Papa G lives in the studio now.
I do too, I think.
Yeah, Dan.
I haven't had power
Fake Dan does
like
as well.
70 hours.
And we're joined by special guest Dan Holloway.
I'm special in a way that is really only quantified in my level of retardation, right? Like there's nothing spectacular going on. It's just weird. That makes it special, right?
Yeah.
Like anchovies on a pizza.
Right.
Like it's special because it's unique, but it's not. That doesn't. Being
not
special
something
doesn't
good.
mean it's good.
Yeah,
That's all I'm
it's
saying.
not something you necessarily want,
No.
especially for basketball.
Although I don't see why everybody is upset about pineapple doesn't belong. Anything I want on that fucking pizza belongs there,
Yeah.
bitch.
Yeah.
I'll fucking take a shit on that pizza if I want. You know what I mean? Get out of here.
A little salty and sweet.
I mean, that's probably not
combo.
a good idea to shit on a pizza. But yeah, I think Canadian bacon and pineapple actually tastes pretty good on pizza.
I don't like the pineapple with the cheese.
You don't like pineapple with cheese, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not like
it's
ham
not-
and pineapple together. Fucking fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not your go-to, but it's like you want to throw a curveball in
I mean,
the mix.
pork and fruit goes together pretty well. Like whenever I make a pork tenderloin, I will often grill peaches to go with it, right?
Right.
Make a peach chutney or something like that.
Yeah.
It tastes good together. I don't understand why people are so fucking. I don't like anchovies either, Hawk. To be frank, when you go to an Italian restaurant and they have like a normal, like an actual Caesar salad, there's anchovies in it, but it is a compliment to the dish. If you go to some shitty Italian place and like there's anchovies on this thing, like no, just keep that shit away because they're gonna put like a whole dead fish on top of my salad.
It's not pureed into the dressing or whatever the fuck it is.
It's supposed to be. It's like fucking lemon and salt and olive oil and the anchovy, and you blend it, and then you pour it. It's part of the dressing, right? Oh my god, why are we even talking about this?
We're all just reveling in your specialness.
Well, I'm high as shit, so
I like being on
Yeah.
the same side as you, Rob.
I do too.
It's like we're on a date and I just slide over on the booth.
It also, we need the warmth.
wait. So you're a same side sitter when you go to dinner with another man?
Usually, yeah. Only with another man, though.
Yeah, Kylie's on the other side.
Yeah. Well, you want to be able to see the hot girl. You don't want to see his ass. Somebody.
Yeah. Well, I
somebody.
can't see his ass anyway. If if I'm in front of him.
Someone wrote in the RPR Facebook group that you're like a poor man's Seth MacFarlane or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a poor man's Ben Shapiro, dollar store Ben Shapiro in the chat earlier today.
I like McFarlane cutout that was left out in the rain for too long.
Once at TFM, someone called me if you shaved and bleached the Grinch. Which my
I can actually see that one. Yeah.
God damn it, that's not good.
Yeah, we have a Grinch costume back there. If you want to go put it on.
Let's bleach it first.
No, don't fuck the costume up. You're the one that's bleached, bitch.
Yeah, we're gonna turn you green.
Yeah, that's fair. By the way, my wife just texted me again, and it's all her concern is for the car, not me.
Oh yeah, well I mean you have insurance for the car. Who cares?
That's what I'm saying.
And there's insurance for you too, though.
Well,
Probably a bigger insurance policy.
Yeah, raw eggs and Parmesan also the Hawk. Yeah, you're right. I mean if you see a whole anchovy in your salad, someone's made a mistake. That is not how that's supposed to go.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that whole anchovy, like you said, is at a shittier restaurant.
Yeah, it probably came out of a fucking can somewhere, right?
So the
God
risk
damn
of it just being even worse than what you would already expect a dead black fish to taste like.
Well, that's kind of racist, but
That's fair. That's fair.
do you think it got killed by a cop?
It's coming right for us.
I'm not the one that did it. I'm just saying.
But anyway, let's quit this opening like Jalen Johnson quit Duke. You have some thoughts about that?
I do.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of overcorrected where everybody is pro player automatically now. It's kind of fucked up, right?
Well, I mean, if it's a one and done system, and look, Duke is now.
Yes.
And we're starting this year to see the effects of that. They're a completely irrelevant team at this point. So if they're going to be one and done, from your perspective, because you seem a little heated about this, what is this young man's
Draft stock?
No. What is his impetus to stay there and fight with that shitty team? I mean, I guess it's like going to college, getting a degree. Who gives a fuck about that? But it shows you can finish something. Maybe that's what it is. But if
it's just more of like you've made it this far. I know.
Sure,
he's a
sure, but like
guy.
people sit out bowl games all the time. Like, what difference does it make?
Yeah.
To be
Which
honest,
at this point, the rest of Duke's season is a bowl game.
Yeah, you got to think that. I find it hard to believe that people from the NFL or NFL, the NBA circle, even if it's just like hangers-on fucking advisors saying like, look, dude, what's the point of getting hurt? Like, imagine if when Zion's shoe blew out in that game,
and
imagine if he had actually gotten hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would have, when he came back, imagine he had come back and actually gotten hurt. He would have fucking, one, ruined his entire career, and two, never would have lived that down. People 25 years from now, there'd be a 30 for 30 about him and Len Bias and people that ruin their career making dumb decisions. You know what I mean?
They'd be like, man, the only thing that's almost as dumb as Len Bias ODing on cocaine is Zion destroying his knee.
So what is his responsibility, I guess, exactly to the university who, and it's not their fault either. It's not. Duke didn't invent this one and done shit.
No. And I'm not necessarily even going after Jalen Johnson as much as I'm just kind of like, we automatically give it a pass, whether it's college or pro, where we're automatically on the player's side.
Right.
And I get it more in college because obviously you're not getting paid. It's a pandemic season, but make that decision a little bit earlier. And just with his like draft stock and everything, Jalen Johnson, he's been described as like Ben Simmons without athleticism, which is not
nothing.
what you want to.
Meaning he can't shoot or dunk? He's just, what the fuck are you talking about?
He's just tall. He's just tall.
Ben Simmons without athleticism describes a way too many people in this general population.
Yeah.
Right. So
pretty much everybody over 6'6" that's not playing professional sports can be categorized that way.
Right.
So we've gotten to the point where we're always on the player's side, that the camp is always going to like sway him to go to the league, not care about. It's not necessarily even a good look when you quit on your team 3 weeks before. What do you think NBA GMs are going to think of this kid when he quits on the team with 3 weeks left in the season?
To be honest, I don't know why college basketball is even still a thing. Why isn't the G League doing all this? Like, honestly, if you're a player right now, why not just go straight? You have to wait a year to go to the G League, right?
No,
you can go right to
straight
the G
in.
League,
So why the fuck is anybody going to college at this point?
Two reasons.
Just to bang chicks?
Three reasons. That. Secondly,
going back to your school, like for whatever reason, these guys that are one and done, especially Kentucky, they just love being like coach, like Cal guys,
right?
And Kentucky guys are like going back to the University of Kentucky for like a game once every 3 years.
They also like can low key get like a really easy degree still when they're done. But in terms of what the benefit of playing in college is versus playing in the G League, two things is one, you get to have fun in college. The G League's a job, right? It's not as much of a job in college. Like you get to be a kid still, you get to have fun. Like whereas when you enter the G League, you're a professional adult at the age of 18.
For sure.
Which kind of sucks.
I mean, does it suck? Because that's every other adult on earth that's not in college at the time. Like plenty of people start their careers at 18 years old.
Right.
And
how many of those people would rather be getting fucked up on a college campus?
For sure, but first of all, that's a half-year job, right? I mean, look, staying in shape is a full year job, but all the other stuff, especially
spring semester, you're getting ready for the draft.
Yeah,
you're not going to class.
No, fuck no. Especially COVID time, you're not going to goddamn class anyways.
Right.
This is all fucking pointless, in my opinion.
It is.
Here's the other big reason.
Why doesn't the G League just fucking help them get online degrees? Like part of your salary in the G League should be you get fucking distance learning from Penn State. I mean, there's a million colleges that do it now. Yeah. Public universities do that shit now. So if that's one of the things, get rid of it, because I think college basketball is a failing product at this point.
It'll still survive, even with like the lack of talent.
Schools
because
this generation, for the next 20 years, people like you, and once you're like fucking 40, 50, 60, that shit's done, because this upcoming generation is not going to have the experience that you had, right?
Right. They're
or
not.
That I had.
If COVID,
but college, for whatever reason,
sure.
it survives because it's all about the name on the front, not the back of the jersey. You could literally run us out in Kentucky uniforms, and people are still going to watch it.
Probably, but this generation, right? Next generation,
even older, probably. Yeah, it's probably more of like our dads and maybe the generation even before us.
So what's that going to look like then? I mean, in 20 years, college basketball is just going to be white kids that can't actually play professional sports, right? It's going to be, what do you call it? The real estate guys or whatever the fuck.
Oh, real estate agent of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Future
Yeah.
real estate
But
agent
again,
of the week, I should
Jalen
say.
Johnson, he shouldn't be like he's getting the wrong advice because again, he's Ben Simmons without athleticism. That's not.
And he's a low
The ideal
he's,
draft.
He's projected as a low lottery draft pick. Like he's projected 14th right now, so he's not like a top 5 like slam dunk pick.
And these dudes kind of like get.
I mean, this season he shot 44%.
I think his
from three.
best season was 19-9, or his best game was 19-9. So 19. He didn't even like have a double this season.
There is a big reason though, at least for the time being, aside from all that bullshit, that kids should play college basketball, and that is because it's the only level in that time frame, unlike the G League, where you play in high pressure environments.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's something to be said for that. The Christian Leitners of the world who
Not this year though, obviously.
I mean, yeah, there's for
Right.
the last. I don't think for the last couple of years, to be honest. Obviously, there was no tournament last year, but even the year before that, I feel like the quality of the product is going down for a long time. Anyways, yeah, there's something to be said for being in high pressure situations and that molding you into a champion later on. That champion pedigree, that's a real thing.
Right.
Like knowing you can win is a psychological fucking factor, but you're spending a year of your life, probably one of the years that you're going to absorb the most information with the impetus to win the game instead of learning the game, right?
Yeah.
And you're learning a game. You're transitioning from high school basketball and AAU basketball, which is much different than college basketball. It is that is street ball compared to college basketball these days.
Yeah, where you learn systems. And
Yes. So you come in and you learn college systems. I mean, imagine if it was like that in the NFL. If a quarterback came in, an option quarterback, somebody like like Baker Mayfield, not that he was an option quarterback, but somebody that likes to be mobile, came in and learned that college game and then had to immediately go to the NFL and learn that game. That's 3 years in a row where you're learning 3 different fucking systems. That seems like a bad idea.
I mean, that already happens.
Yeah, I mean,
It happens
was
in
talking
basketball,
about.
yeah.
Patrick Mahomes was talking about when he was first in the NFL. He learned how to read kind of like the linebackers before the snap from Alex Smith and Andy Reid. Because
Yeah.
he had never learned that before.
No one I mean, there's a couple of pro-style offenses, but I hate that fucking phrase.
Right.
But there's a couple of coaches in college, not head coaches necessarily, but there's a couple of fucking quarterback coaches and wide receiver coaches that understand that shit and they can teach it. But and there's nothing about playing college basketball that prepares you for the NBA, in my opinion.
There's one. Learning how to deal with celebrity.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but you could do that in the G League too.
No, they're playing in North Dakota and shit. Nobody gives
Des Moines,
a fuck
yeah.
about those dudes.
Nobody gives a
They
shit
play
about
in
the G League.
They play in like the G League.
They
feels
don't
like,
care about it now because it's a shitty product, right?
Right.
If there were great players there playing, like if Zion was matching up against fucking Trey from Atlanta there last year, that would be a huge game no matter what city it's in.
Yeah, I'd go to an Austin Spurs game
Yeah.
if Zion was playing for the Spurs.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting, by the way, though? Like everything we're talking about, like, oh, it's better to learn the game, like be taught the game individually than X, Y, Z or whatever. That is actually trending a bit the opposite way in baseball. Teams like drafting college players a lot more now than they did.
But baseball is different, right?
But
Like
you still
there's
to
the-
like win instead of learn
Sure,
the
you
game.
do, but the level of competition in Division I baseball is better than the level of competition in minor league A ball for sure.
Yeah,
Right.
and
There's no
also when
question
you
about
opt
that.
out of the draft, when you get drafted in high school to go to college, you have to sit 3 years.
You have to stay 3
You have
years
to stay
in
3
college.
years
Yeah,
in college.
that's kind of dumb.
Yeah, it is.
To be honest,
See,
I mean, you should be able
NFL
to.
too.
It used to be where you could enter the draft every single year.
I think maybe hockey does it the best, where they get drafted and then like they just belong to the team, but they can play college.
Yeah.
And then they can, I guess, just leave whenever they want.
I
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean-
want that for all sports, where you can just draft a kid. I don't know, like 5 years before he's.
I mean,
eligible.
European soccer, European football does that as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like I think Lionel Messi got signed when he was 14 years old or 13 years old.
Yeah.
And he had some kind of fucking HGH condition, like he wasn't growing the right way, and they helped him with that.
Yeah.
Because they really enjoyed his footwork. I mean, it worked out for Barcelona, obviously.
Yeah.
They made quite not necessarily for his home country. He sucks in the fucking in the World Cup, but yeah, that's an interesting thing. I mean, if the point is to, I mean, it's like a social contract, right? The point is for the child and for their family to see, like, hey, I think I can do this and I can become very wealthy doing it, so I need to get in the right kind of path to make that shit happen. Fuck all this other bullshit. It's about the kid at that point. But the university's making money off of them. The G League's making money off of them. We are enjoying the product as well. Everybody's got a piece to contribute here. So I want to be responsible and make sure the kids are taken care of. but I also don't want to waste anybody's time.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I guess I'll throw this question your way. It's just kind of going like I'm not railing on Jalen Johnson here. Everyone's so pro player that there's kind of like this take that there should never be a draft in the first place, and that it should be a free market where players get to pick where they go. What do you think about that?
I mean, it would just be it would be chaos.
It'd be college football.
Anytime the number one guy was a cunt and sat out or held out or whatever the fuck, he fucks the entire rest of the market when that happens. You can't do it. I mean, it sounds like a good idea, but it's implausible that it would work properly because of that.
I think there's a bit of a sort of, not to get like annoyingly like political, but there's a sort of like a woke like socialist aspect to like we always have to take the side of the worker.
Yeah,
when sometimes the
that's
worker's
what
just
it
being
is.
a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm railing
Yeah,
on.
like no one should be on, say, Kyrie Irving's side a couple weeks ago when he just fucking left. Like, I really don't care what you're going through when you're getting paid that much money
in the NBA,
to have fun.
In the NBA, kind of like where players are starting to opt out and just be like forcing trades, like a year into their contract when they have 4 years left. It's like, why did you sign the contract to begin with then?
Yeah, I mean, the contract negotiation is an interesting thing, right? Because for more security, the player usually gives up money. Whether it's longer term contract or if it's more money on the front end or incentive based or whatever it is, they want more years of guaranteed shit for their service, and the team wants to pay them the smallest amount of guaranteed shit as possible. Ronald Acuna, 8 years, $100 million. That dude is worth $250 million easy for 8 years. I mean, honestly, he's a $30 million a year guy, talent wise. But he did what he did because that's who he is as a person. He just wants to play baseball. He doesn't care.
And also,
same thing with Albies.
He's not even American. Like,
Yeah,
he's Venezuelan.
Baseball has a history of exploiting like South American and Central American baseball players.
For sure, yeah, but I don't think you can really get away with it anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so many advisors out there. I just don't. I mean, Albies, you can see the guys. Albies and fucking Acuna don't give a fuck about what's going on in the stands or anywhere else. Probably not even at home. They just like playing baseball. They don't give a shit.
Yeah,
which is nice. I mean, it's nice to see that. And my assumption is that Acuna is going to go back home when he's done playing baseball and $5 million. He would never have to fucking do anything for the rest of his life to make any money. He's going to have, probably by the end of his career, he's probably going to have, I mean, his next contract, he signed that when he was 21, so he's going to be 31, 32. When he signs that next one, he's going to sign an 8-year deal that's worth like fucking $300 million then.
My guess is honestly about halfway through that first contract, they'll do another, try to like renegotiate and get him for less again for another 10 years.
Probably, yeah. They should.
Yeah.
I mean, they should, and he should sign it too because you never know what's going to happen. And what we do know is that contracts signed age 32 and past that are almost always losses for the team.
Right.
Almost all, like Albert Pujols, for example. Like, yeah, he had his 500 home run there, 600 home run there, but
Ryan Howard.
Yeah, Ryan Howard.
God.
But that was an injury. I mean, Pujols has plantar fasciitis, but there's long been a rumor in Major League Baseball that Pujols was actually 18 and not 16 when he got signed.
Yeah.
Or maybe even older than that, because he looked like a fucking man
Old as shit.
when he came in.
You can never trust those like documentations from those countries.
I am 12, yeah. But even then, still fucking, he's still cranking home runs, dude. I mean, his batting average is down, but he's still pretty good. He's still better than average player, which is pretty crazy because he's probably like 45 years old.
Right. One thing with Pujols too, where people like dog that contract. This is a baseball show now.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You're not hijacking this.
Yeah. No, I was just say this is that the Angels signing him helped them get a way better TV deal. So even though people are like, oh, they ate so much money, like they really actually made a
They
shit.
probably would not have been able to hang on to Mike Trout had they not
Do you
signed
know a
Pujols.
single Angels fan though? Even in
Not
LA?
a fucking one.
No.
one is.
It's kind of a waste of a franchise.
All right, so let's talk
speaking of-
basketball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just to bring it back to Jalen Johnson though, part of me though loves it because it just it irks Coach K so bad.
Oh, that's not a character move. Not a high character move at all.
Oh, is that so? When bosses or managers or coaches say, "Oh, that wasn't a high character move," what they meant was this guy didn't do what I told him to do.
Right. Yeah.
Coach K is a cunt.
He is
Right.
the biggest fucking snake out there.
It's always high character to let yourself get fucked.
Yeah, dude. Like, where's the honor? That's again. There is a social contract here. Now, if the kid was going to stay 4 years and he was a middle of the road player and he's getting a scholarship because of that, fucking fair trade for sure.
Yeah.
This guy is a superstar. He's not a superstar. He's going to be a star. He'll be an all-star in the NBA at some point probably.
No, I don't think he is. I think he's getting the wrong advice.
He's got a good stroke from three. He may not develop properly, but he's a 6'9" guy that can stretch the floor a little bit, so he's going to have some success. You know what I mean?
Could be a 3-and-D type of guy.
He could be 3-and-D. He's got a pretty good ratio of blocks to steals to turnovers. Like he's about 1.2 to 1.5 blocks to steals a game. That's pretty good. I mean, it's college. We'll see if it translates, but he's presumably at 19, he's going to get more athletic over the next 2 years.
Right.
And hopefully learn some shit from the NBA. It does seem like he's getting bad advice. But once he gets drafted and a team has control of him, now he's an investment, and all those bad advice people are gone, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, again, you never know. There's so many hangers-on in the NBA.
Well, it's kind of a few years ago, Nojal Eastern from Purdue, he transferred to Michigan against the advice of Matt Painter, and Matt Painter was like, you should probably stay here, kind of develop. I don't think you should, because he was testing the waters for the NBA at first.
Right.
Then he pulled out of the draft. Then he decided to transfer to Michigan, but Michigan didn't accept him. So he was kind of stuck in no man's land. He ended up at Howard, and then he opted out of the season this year at Howard because he just didn't want to play because of COVID. So he's going to be entering the draft next year.
Without having played competitive basketball
for
in a
the
year
last
and a half.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem too. I mean, Major League Baseball luckily put together a deal for the minor leagues to happen this year because that would have been, I mean, I can't believe they just canceled the fucking minor league season altogether last year. That's wild as fuck. There's people's jobs, man. Like, how can you do that? Like, not just the players who are developing into the fucking as part of the franchise, but the coaches, the fucking umpires, the people that work at the goddamn stadiums for 81 games a season or however many it is. That's fucking crazy. Like, you just shut that shit down because of what?
That had to be, probably, God, 100,000 jobs.
Who the fuck knows? I mean, there's...
When you talk about stadium people, media people who cut for like on the radio and shit like that, but but dude, if they're gonna cancel the NCAA tournament, they'll cancel shit like that. No.
Oh, for sure. Well, I mean, this is the whole season though. That wasn't just a month. And there's baseball. There's 120 total minor league baseball teams.
Right.
Right. And you gotta think at a minor league baseball stadium, there's got to be at least conservatively 50 employees at every game, right? At a minimum, 50 employees.
What do you mean, like
working the stadium?
Yeah.
Like 50 to 100 probably each. That's thousands of jobs that are just gone. It's so fucking bizarre to me. I'll just be glad if there's a fucking tournament this year.
They can't not do it. It's $1 billion every year. It's just like
Yeah, they lost $1 billion last year.
So maybe next year, and not to mention, you got to think there's some people from Vegas that are like, you're playing this goddamn tournament.
Yeah, I mean. Unfortunately, there was one of the good things about having the mob in control of all the gambling back in the day is the shit went the way it was supposed to. You know what I mean? Because everybody was afraid to fucking not do it properly. There is some level of authoritarianism that is necessary in some circumstances to make shit happen properly.
I often get the vibe that you would be okay with a Starship Troopers level of government.
No, I mean,
I'm doing my part.
No, where it's like, what's the line in Starship Troopers where it's like the social scientists failed, so the veterans took over, and it's like a democracy, but it only goes so far before they're like, no, you need to shut the fuck up.
You don't want to get me started on veterans in politics, my man.
No, we already talked about Crenshaw today.
And Kinzinger, too. Fuck them both. Anyways, yeah, with this whole shit, again, the impetus for the kid. If you're a fucking, he's right outside the lottery right now. He probably, if he had a great tournament, could have played himself into the lottery.
Yeah.
But, I mean, how much do you have to show out? I mean, if that were the case, would it have been a higher character move for him to go hero ball in the tournament because the rest of Duke sucks?
Well, they also have to make the tournament too.
Yeah, exactly.
They're a 500 basketball team, which I mean, they can still make the tournament.
They're ACC. They'll get a bid. Yeah, come on.
And a lot of the mid majors are like not playing games or kind of dog shit. So it's a good year to be a mediocre Power 5 team. Yeah,
I want to see like a 15 seed Kentucky.
But even then, let's say, I mean, would it be? I guess it would probably be a character move by Coach Kuntz standard to play in the tournament at all. But if he played in the tournament and just did hero ball the whole time and tried to put up 30 a game, maybe boosts his draft stock. Maybe it makes him look like a dick. Like you never know how people are gonna receive these things.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it just makes NBA GMs think twice, especially at like 14, 15 or whatever, wherever he's going to go originally, and be like, oh no, he quit on his team 3 weeks left in the season.
Fortunately, that's
not
kind of
necessarily something I want.
Well, I mean, if I was him, I would have had a reason to do that. I wouldn't have just done it. But I mean, he's a kid. He's probably getting some bad advice.
And he's kind of got a history, especially in high school, where he would just kind of go from team to team. He was going from school to school.
Michael Beasley style.
Yeah,
where he just switches every fucking year.
He's kind of got that rap already.
Yeah, that's not something people are usually willing to spend a first round draft pick on. Frankly,
No.
I mean, right? NBC has him going fucking 12th, I think, or
14th
14th
to the Grizzlies. On there.
Is it 14th?
Yeah, that's what I get. That's what I have open too.
13.
NBC's got great SEO apparently.
I mean, that'd be good. The Grizzlies. I mean, there's a pretty good player there already that he could team up with if he really wanted to work hard.
Yeah, like at this point, I don't know if that's the guy you want to build around Ja with. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
I don't know. If he committed to being a 3-and-D guy,
right.
That is exactly who I want with Ja Morant. And then I want a power forward that can play in the high post and get that kid the ball, right?
Yeah.
But
I just don't know how many threes he's jacking up. Like his percentage is probably fine right now because he's maybe taking like 5 threes all season. I don't think he's like a big 3-point shooter.
Let's neither was
look at his
Kawhi
fucking-
Leonard coming out of college, and Kawhi can drill him now.
He's shot 18 total 3-pointers
All season, yeah. So
yeah.
and he
he doesn't
hit 8
do
of
it a
them.
whole lot. Again, he's Ben Simmons without
But
athleticism, so
a
no shot.
A 3-and-D guy. As a 3-and-D guy, you really only have to be able to make baseline and wing 3-pointers, right? Wide open ones, because that's the only time you're getting the ball to shoot. So
Right. You're not getting it off you're not doing it off the
no,
dribble.
fuck no. So I mean, if he's good at catch and shoot, to be honest, I mean, and how frequently do you see 6'9" guys even allowed to shoot 3-pointers in college basketball, anyways? You know what I mean?
And it's not that hard to train. I mean, like Channing Frye, if you want to talk about a giant 3-and-D, he wasn't shooting threes in college.
No.
Like, yeah, it's
I mean, there's not a whole lot of dudes over 6'6" shooting threes at all in college.
No.
Duncan Robinson pretty much is
Yeah.
the only one that comes to mind recently.
I mean, Clay was shooting at Washington. I mean, it's Clay Thompson.
Yeah, but
right?
nobody was watching
He's
it.
no, fuck
Washington
nobody saw that
State.
shit. Nobody saw that shit.
Wazoo basketball. Everybody fucking loves it.
Yeah, but he was fucking killing it. No one cared. Shit, no one should care.
No,
He should. I don't know why he didn't go to USC or UCLA or some. He fucking grew up in LA. What the
Yeah, you just
fuck
gotta
did he
live
go?
off your dad's name.
Yeah, like why?
That gets you something.
Why
in
the
Pac-12.
fuck would you go to Washington State? Out of all the Pac-12 teams you could have chosen,
They probably dropped the bag.
probably.
It
Right?
could have dropped the
Probably
bag, or it could just be a lot of times he made the choice a lot of like regular kids do. Like it just felt like home.
Well, it's like why did Ben Simmons go to LSU?
He does seem. Yeah, that's true too. Clay seems more like a Pacific Northwesterner than he does an LA guy
Yeah.
for sure. Like he gets interviewed and they're like, "Oh, what are you gonna do this off season?" And he's not like, "I'm going to Disneyland." He goes, "Oh, I'm just gonna hang out with my dogs and shoot hoops."
I want to get high.
Yeah. It's like, what? And drink chocolate milk?
Yeah.
Dude, with your Japanese tennis shoes? What the fuck is wrong with you? He's like, he's a fucking sociopath, I think.
I think
But
he's the best athlete based on vibes. That
Clay?
meme going around, yeah.
in,
Clay's,
in the NBA right now?
yeah.
Probably, yeah.
He's probably one of my favorite.
I mean,
NBA
I
players.
like Luka too. I think he's a good kid. Like he seems like he's matured not just as a human being but as a player so rapidly. Not that he's a great player as well, but his turnover rate from last year, which was a bit of a problem. His usage rate is what, like 36% or so. It's like high as fuck.
It's almost like Harden level
Yeah.
with the Rockets, but
Yeah.
he also handled being called a bitch ass white boy pretty well.
I mean,
Yeah.
He was like, "What? Why are people mad?"
That kind of insult in Europe is probably not a thing.
Yeah, Eastern Europe where
Yeah,
he's just like, yeah,
because it's all bitch ass white boys over,
Right.
right?
Well,
So-
they get more specific. You bitch ass Slav. Or
Yeah.
Like, you bitch ass.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot more cultural over there. But yeah, man, I said this on Drinkin Bros earlier, but compulsory military service is something about Starship Troopers I do kind of like. Because
No, it's not compulsory. In Starship
Well, no,
Troopers.
it's you got to get citizenship,
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you can't vote or
Right.
anything if you don't do that. But yeah, I think I don't believe in compulsory military service, but I do see the benefit in testing people's fucking merit a little bit and teaching them survival skills and teaching them how to do conflict resolution shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like being called names that are supposed to cut deep and not allowing that. is a big deal in life. It's a very big deal in your character development to be able to be like, oh, it's not true, or it is true and I don't care, whatever the fucking case
Taking
is.
a metaphorical punch to the face and seeing how you react.
And by the way, this is not unsports related because this is what all these fucking kids can't handle it now, and all the NBA players, NFL players can't fucking handle it now either. Like they're very soft.
Yeah,
Like,
speaking of soft, we were talking about baseball before the show here with the DH thing. The only thing I don't like, I love the universal DH in a lot of ways. The one thing I don't like is that position players do not have the ability to retaliate against a pitcher who could throw 100 miles per hour at their face.
Right.
You know what I mean? There has to be something they can do. So I know what baseball will do in a year or 2 or 3 when this becomes a real problem is that they'll fucking start suspending the pitcher and the position player when they charge them out. What they should do is just let them fucking fight. Like if nobody runs out there and throws their helmet at somebody or swings a bat at somebody's head, if they're just fist fighting each other, who gives a shit?
Winner doesn't get suspended.
I like that. Well,
tossed.
You know what hockey does though? They don't do either of those.
They just wait until the guys hit the ice.
Well, no, they're like
Get a 5-minute
essentially the
major.
teams are like, all right, you can't don't if someone goes after Sidney Crosby, like that's typically not like they typically don't do that though. What they do is like they just like the goons have to kill each other, and then the goon goes back to his own guy and it's like, hey man, stop fucking getting me killed.
Yeah.
Like stop making me get punched in the fucking face every day.
Yeah, I mean it's somebody here, Reed White just said it's good for ratings. You're goddamn right it is.
Oh, great for fucking ratings.
You're goddamn right it is. You know how many fucking times I've watched Nolan Ryan punching Robin Ventura in the top of his head? I actually have a plaque at my house, and it says Robin Ventura, the only man to ever get 5 hits off Nolan Ryan, and it's just fucking him. Pudge is holding his legs, and he's just like swinging his fucking fist in that guy's head. By the way, who the worst person in the history of people to fucking charge the mound downs? It got to be Nolan Ryan in the fucking 1990s, right?
Easily.
Like that's a no-win scenario. You either go out there and beat up an old man, or you go out there and get your ass kicked by a 6'4" fucking 200-pound Texan,
who
has lost the will to live. He doesn't care anymore. He'll fucking murder you right there, dude. He would have killed you. And Kyle Farnsworth's the other one. Don't fucking. Who was that guy he speared? I don't remember who that was. It was somebody in the Cardinals.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fuck.
That was one of the best fights ever. He just like speared the dude and starts grounding and pounding. I'm like, oh, because have you ever seen Kyle Farnsworth with his shirt off? He is an Adonis.
Yeah.
This man's got like fucking 50-inch shoulders that come down to like a fucking 30-inch waist. I've never seen anything like that as a pitcher ever.
And he's kind of just like a psycho personality a little bit. Like he's
a little
Joe
tilted.
Kelly-esque almost back in.
He's a little tilted. Not as bad as Joe Kelly.
Yeah.
Joe Kelly's like getting mad about something he wasn't even involved in, and then screaming at the guys. Well, fuck you, bitch, fuck you. And you're like, dude, you weren't involved in any of this shit. What the fuck are you talking about, knucklehead?
Anyway, speaking of, I don't even fucking know. I'm going to skip the Texas bullshit because we covered that in the last podcast. Ohio State, still fucking rolling. I think they're the 3rd best team in the country. I don't think they're as good as Gonzaga and Baylor, but I think they could. I'm still of the opinion they could jump up and bite them on the right day. 6-game winning streak. 5 of those teams are in the top 40. Of course they are because it's the fucking Big Ten.
Yeah, so the Big Ten is just competing who's the biggest loser. Who's going to lose to Baylor, Gonzaga?
Probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like that, but you never know. I mean, it's a single elimination tournament, and anything can goddamn happen. We've seen that. I mean, what is it? The 7-12 matchup is always fucked.
12-5.
12-5, I'm sorry, yeah. That 12-5, there's like at least 2 every year, 2 upsets.
It averages like 2 a year, yeah.
So it's like, what the fuck, man?
And one of these 1 seeds is going to probably catch Oklahoma State in the 2nd round as an 8 seed, and Cade Cunningham's probably a top 2 draft pick.
Those are always the dangerous years in tournaments when some team underperforms or had an injury and fell in the rankings or whatever the fuck, and then they come out hot.
Or has a top 2 NBA pick.
Yeah.
Or on the other side where there's not even 4 teams that reasonably should be a 1 seed.
Yeah, I mean that's very college football-esque, I guess. But
yeah.
It's happened a couple of times. That year Virginia won, I think it was like that. There was only
that was
Virginia
a soft year.
I think Virginia, Kentucky were legit 1 seeds, and then there was who was it? Kansas maybe was one of the other ones.
Yeah, and Kansas a lot of times.
And then one of them I think was Villanova or something like that. And at that time they were not a fucking 1 seed.
So it was the year Virginia won, which was the year before last when there was no tournament. So they're still the defending champions.
Technically, yeah.
Gonzaga was a 1 seed, but I feel like it was kind of like soft.
Gonzaga, I thought it was Villanova. Gonzaga was the 1 seed that I did not think was a 1 seed.
And then it was Duke and North Carolina were the other 2 1 seeds. And
they're not even relevant now.
Yeah, and it felt like a kind of Duke and Duke was 32-6. Duke was legit.
That now they're not neither one of those teams.
Yeah. But North Carolina was like 29-7 at the end of the year. I feel like they kind of got it on reputation. They were better team. Like Tech
Again,
was 31-7.
I think this season is more like, what was it, 2005, where it was Illinois, North Carolina. Or
Illinois
2004
won, right?
Yeah, 2004. No, North Carolina beat them.
04-05 was
04-05. So,
Yeah.
the two best teams that were, like, clear and above everybody else with Illinois, that loaded team. Names are escaping me right now. But in North Carolina, they kind of just, like, shit-pumped everybody on their way to the tournament. And that's kind of what Baylor and Gonzaga's feeling like this year.
Well, at least there's two, right? I mean, you know, we'll see what happens. I think there's I think Texas is overrated.
Yeah, they're
but
kind of
that's
on a spiral right
yeah,
now.
that was a quality win for Baylor, but I think they're overrated. I don't think Michigan is as good.
I also have questions about Michigan. They've had long pauses
They
this
haven't
year.
played for like a month.
That's a
But
fucking
then they,
problem, though.
But then they came out and shit pumped Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
Yeah, but is it what you said? Is the Big Ten? Is there a lot of parity in the Big Ten, and it's because it's a fucking major 5 conference? They're getting fucking clout that somebody else wouldn't get.
Yeah, and Illinois
what I mean?
starting to
Because that's
roll
what
a
happened
bit.
in college football this year, right? Like the Big Ten fucking sucked, except for Ohio State. Everybody sucked in the Big Ten. They were all this, fucking Illinois and Indiana's gonna do it, man. Like, no, the fuck they're not, dude. You got your goddamn mind, and it's not because they're Indiana. It's because of the players they have on the field. You can look at your eyeballs and tell how and why they're winning these games, and I don't believe some of this stuff.
I buy that the Big Ten has 6 or 7 really good teams and two or three, like, not elite in the way Gonzaga and Baylor are elite, but elite right below that level. Ohio State, even though I have questions about Michigan I'll still put in there for now. And Illinois is like a decent team, but Illinois has 2 players that if they go off, you are fucked.
You have 2 studs.
Io Dunsumu and Kofi Coburn are. Kofi Coburn looks like it's spelled Cockburn. It's pronounced Coburn.
It's the cock is silent.
Yeah, the cock is silent. Kofi Coburn looks like he could rip anyone's throat out of their neck. That is maybe the most jacked college basketball player I've ever seen in my life.
Did you see Andre Iguodala when he played in college?
This is not even close.
It looks like muscle that they've just stretched. It looks like Westworld. Andre Iguodala's like arm, especially his bicep muscles. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
How he can still shoot the ball. Not that he's a terrible free throw shooter, but
Russell Westbrook too at UCLA.
Yeah, I mean,
just
like
jacked.
it's just like fucking the most cut I've ever seen a human being.
Yeah.
And that's just how he walks around.
Shaq at LSU.
Well, he was getting paid.
I was saying this Kofi's probably more akin to Shaq than anything because Kofi's huge. He's 7 foot. Like the other guys we're talking about are, forwards, small forwards.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, Chase? There's a dog growling at Dan. Dan's dog is growling at Dan. Yeah, man. Illinois. I like Illinois being like a 3 or 4 seed that just goes on a bananas run and maybe makes a Final Four. Iowa this week, quote unquote, rebounded because their kind of 3-point specialist, CJ Frederick, is back. Everyone, like several people when Iowa was losing are like, oh, it's just because CJ's gone. Like it fucks up their spacing. It fucks up their scheme or whatever. But they looked so fucking bad that what do you do if you just take him out of the game? I mean, like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, there's certain players that you can win without on the court and some that you can't win without on the court. And I don't think it's a function of how good the player is. I think it's how the team works together. Like some people are like, oh, well, fucking the Browns are better with OBJ off the field than they were with him on the field. Like that might be statistically true. Yeah. But it's not, it's absolutely 100% not a question of OBJ's talent. Right. That it doesn't denigrate his capabilities for that to be. Both of those things can be true. He could be a great player and he could be not a fit on this team. Unfortunately, in college, you don't have the option. You know what I mean? First of all, you don't have a very deep bench, and you're turning players over all the time. So I don't know. When people say that shit, he is back. It does help spread the floor. Those things are good, and we've seen the proof of it now. So maybe Iowa goes on a run. Can they extend it through March? Is the real question.
The other thing too is this week they beat Michigan State, who is fucking awful. Speaking of blue bloods who can't do shit this year, it's like if you're a name brand in college basketball this year, you're fucked.
And if you're mentioned on this podcast, you're gonna lose.
Yeah, obviously.
Oh, you guys got the Madden curse now?
We do. We talked about Mizzou all week,
and we'll get to that. Yeah. But we did mention at the time last week that we were like Mizzou's top 10, or I was like Mizzou's top 10, but then we were like, but they're definitely not a top 10 team at all. Like they just kind of ass backward their way into the ring. But before we get to that, They beat Rutgers and Michigan State. Neither team is that good. We fucking hate Rutgers on this podcast.
Rutgers is, but we shouldn't mention them again.
No. They still strike me as soft. Even when I watch them, like half the time they come down the floor. This is the type of team that feels fucked in March because their guards come down the floor with no plan whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like they just dribble and they're like, Luka, are you open yet? Mm-hmm. And I'm also fully convinced that Luka Garza, like 30% of Luka Garza's hype is because his first name is Luka. And
Maybe.
he's a white guy.
It could be, yeah.
Like I 100% buy that.
Like people don't know that it's not Luka Doncic or whatever. Just like that's very possible. I mean, that's good branding though for Luka.
Oh yeah.
Like Luka Doncic needs to get his fucking name copyrighted.
Yeah.
Like it's like Jordan. You know what I mean? Like he needs to make Luka shoes, and they're just called Luka. Like as soon as you have first use of that name in a fucking merchandising line, nobody can ever take it. Right? He needs to do that now.
Yeah.
If you're out there. Do it.
Like imagine.
I mean, he's gonna make fucking $500 million playing basketball. I don't know if he cares about shoes, but
Luka,
yeah,
playing basketball alone before all his like wild ass.
Yeah.
If you're like a I mean, he's got tennis player.
He's got two audiences.
He's got international money.
Yeah,
so.
Right.
That domestic and the international money, and especially in Europe, the way they pay professional athletes for endorsements over there. I mean, the salaries are crazy for soccer. What does Messi make? $105 million a year, something like that?
Something crazy.
$105 million a year. We think that these can you see that dog on camera? That'd be really funny.
Not yet.
Shit. Get him to jump up in the air.
He's just going to lay on the bed.
Yeah.
He's just going to lay down, isn't it?
Yeah.
He doesn't understand why there's so much. He doesn't understand that it's an air mattress. So he doesn't understand that it's like why there's give and shit. Like, why is this uneven?
This is a nightmare. Oh, we're getting the dog?
Yeah, let's get the dog in there.
This is Dan, fake Dan's dog.
Chase Muttley. Yeah.
Chase Muttley. Yeah. Don't do that. You know,
it's already been done.
You know how I feel about puns.
No.
That's a good dog right there. Anyways, yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know with these high profile teams. I mean, the Big Ten is a good example this year too. Now we all know the struggles of the ACC.
Yeah.
Duke and North Carolina, who have been relevant in college basketball since 1990 and 1988 or so, like pretty much constantly. Jordan, with Jordan, it goes back further at North Carolina, Jordan and Worthy and all those guys into the early 80s, but with both of those teams since the early 90s, they have both been pretty much great every year except for here and there not great.
Right.
Now they're fucked.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're completely and Virginia is the powerhouse team in the fucking ACC
Florida State now.
Well, Florida State too. Yeah, they beat Virginia. Although I think Virginia is a better team.
Yes.
They're just super streaky. I think
they shouldn't run into Florida State. They have a problem with Florida State just because again, Florida State is what they always are: long, athletic, play defense, can't shoot.
Yeah.
They're going to they'll fizzle out in the second or third round in the NCAA tournament. I'll take them way too far. They'll let me down.
Florida State is the type of team, like, if you watch them, if you're like a casual college basketball fan and it's like late February and you're like, oh, I'm going to do a little homework for my bracket. You'll watch that Florida State team and you'll be like, my God, all of these dudes look like they should be starting in the NFL at wide receiver. Like, these guys are fucking athletes.
They're grown men.
Yeah.
Like playing against
and they're
children.
Always grown men. And then you go to your bracket and you're like, oh, I watched that Florida State team play. They look fucking amazing. I'm going to put them. And then they fizzle out in the second.
Well, I mean, 3 is more than 2. Steph Curry taught us that, I believe. I thought we've had that math for some time now, but he really emphasized it in sports. Virginia is a sleeper team for me. Like I know that it's weird to say the defending champion, although it was 2 years ago, is a sleeper team. They have 4 upperclassmen in their lineup, and 1 freshman who was pretty good, right? So that's a winning combination in college basketball right now, structurally. But Gonzaga and Baylor are the same, right? I think that's why they're great. For whatever reason, Virginia's been super streaky this year. They've lost some games. I don't think they should have.
I forget what it's called. They've implemented a new offensive system this year, which they took a couple L's really early in the season, including to San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco State.
No,
San Francisco
University. San Francisco University.
I didn't know they had. I thought it was an art school. They have a basketball team?
University of San Francisco has a natty too at some point. I think
like
back in the 40s. Yeah.
Good God.
It's just like they've been clunky at times because it's a new system this year. But the other thing that makes
Gonzaga beat the fucking Christ out of them.
Yeah, well, that's
like 30 points or 25 points or some shit like that.
They scored 100 on the best defensive team of the last decade.
It's too bad that it was that the second week of the season that Gonzaga Baylor game got canceled or whatever the fuck. God damn, I wanted to watch that.
We were going to go live.
Yeah, but now we
shit.
get to potentially get a undefeated national championship.
I mean, if they come through That's likely, right?
Yeah.
They'll try to position it that way because I mean, once you win your fucking regional,
they'll be on different
it's
sides of the
re-ranked,
brackets,
right?
yeah.
So
It would take, even if Baylor drops a game, which is in this later, even if Baylor drops a game, they would still be the overall 2 seed, barring a fucking nightmare.
I wonder if, like, this seems like a really good college basketball season, despite the fact that some of the big players are kind of out of the conversation. Is that because we missed it last year, or is it because it's actually a better product this year?
It's a really good product.
It's a good product.
So Ken Palm actually has Gonzaga's the top-rated Ken Palm team ever.
Yeah.
In existence of Ken Palm, and then I think like all the Baylor and all the Big Ten teams are also like some of the top 10 Ken Palm teams of all time, which is weird.
What's nice is that this year, because it's been so fucking weird, has filtered out the sort of annoying one and done teams where those guys just put their dudes on the floor and they're better.
So does Kansas, Duke, Kentucky, etc., North Carolina stop taking guys that are one and done?
Kansas doesn't really do that. Kansas is a team builder, but
Okay.
they will get their 5 stars. They will take a one and
You
done.
have Embiid, you have Wiggins,
Yeah.
but like for the most part, Kansas.
Like,
yeah.
is there a
there's a pivot for Coach K.
Well, it's in
and
general,
Coach
like
Cal.
you always talk about with anything, there has been no moderation, and so the pendulum swung too far to the other side.
So the solution to that probably is to get a minimum 2-year commitment from a kid.
Yeah,
I would actually-
Coach Cal's starting to get some of those transfers.
Yeah.
like Olivier Sarr from Wake Forest, who was a massive disappointment this year.
Right.
So I think he's trying to like look towards the future and see what's like the next thing.
I mean, Coach K, why even persist through this? Retire with the game that you had before.
He should have
Don't-
retired 10 years
don't-
ago.
Don't try to don't tarnish your legacy by trying to learn new shit at 70 years old. It doesn't make any
Right.
sense to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like when these Major League Baseball teams have issues, like there's some kind of tumult on the team, a manager gets fired or some weird shit happens, the front office turns over because of some kind of scandal, who do they bring in? It's Dusty Baker every single time. Because he's going to do exactly what Dusty Baker does. He's going to win you 80 to 90 games probably,
Yeah.
right? If you have a decent team. And there's not going to be any, but he's not Ron Washington. He's not going to be smoking crack in the fucking clubhouse or whatever. Ron Washington was doing coke all the time.
Yeah, at the Rangers.
With the Rangers and Oakland too before that.
Rad.
Like, it was hilarious.
Yeah, Dallas is a big
To be fair,
Coke
though,
town.
I hope he never leaves the Braves.
Fuck no, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not want your fucking coaches on cocaine? They're going to be happier. There's going to be more fucking, like dopamine in their system. And they're going to be more upbeat. They're going to be paying attention to shit. They might get a little paranoid after a while, but...
No, but it's good that Ron's paranoid because he's always like, "Hey, man, you need some more infield practice. I think you're bad at the infield now. I got to."
Yeah, he really taught Chris Pratt how to play first base.
Yeah.
No question about that. That's a Billy Bean joke. So, yeah, I wonder why they don't just fucking leave. I guess it's a new challenge. It seems like Coach K likes new challenges and things like that, maybe. But what is he, 71?
Let me check. But yeah,
Everybody's
old.
trying to figure out how to spell his piece of shit name now.
74.
74. Good God.
Oh, and had a birthday a couple days ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Happy birthday, you
Yeah.
cocksucker.
I just don't get it, man. Like, why?
Well, would Jordan have ever retired? Right. I think these guys are the same. In a lot of ways, the same kind of psycho level competitive.
Well, Jordan did retire twice
But would he have?
and then came back twice.
Would he have? Would these guys do it though? If
know, Bobby Knight retired.
If physical issues weren't a thing, like
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Bobby Cox retired before he needed to. He was struggling for a couple of years, and he got knee surgery, and he was trotting out there again and getting. I think he holds the record for the most ejections
It's
by manager,
unbreakable.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's like 1,600 games,
fucking
some
crazy,
stupid shit
yeah.
like that, like 10 full seasons of ejections. I don't even know what it is. It's not that many. It's like 160 or something like that. I think it's a lot. Anyways, there have been some managers that have done it. I mean, fucking Bill Parcells did it. He left.
Right.
He left before he really needed to. He could have gotten a job anywhere.
161, a full season
161,
of
yeah.
ejections.
Well,
A full
Parcells
season.
came back though with the Cowboys.
Yeah, but he left. I mean, he could have gone on to coach anybody after
Bill
that.
Cowher retired super early.
Bill Cowher is
Yeah.
the real example there, yeah.
Bob Stoops in college football.
And I'm not advocating for people just to fuck off, but I mean, if you're 74, the game in college basketball is changing, and it's not going to look the same in a couple of years. You have to change. You can't. There's no version of Leitner and Hill and Bob, whatever the fuck that.
Imagine
point
talking to a
guard's name was.
17 or 18-year-old like on a recruiting trip right now.
Yeah.
Like Coach K trying to connect to.
Like that kid, that 17 or 18-year-old right now, despite the fact that Coach K is old as fuck, right now he's seeing players in the NBA signing long-term deals and telling the team to fuck off halfway through the first season of the deal. He's like, well, I'm not going to commit to these motherfuckers. This is about me now.
Yeah.
Which is kind of to your point before. Like, is it swung too far in the favor of players? The answer is always yes. I mean, it's third wave feminism or fourth wave feminism at this point. Like, yeah, we got to this point and there was more work to do, but instead of doing the extra work, you just like went over here. Like, what the fuck were you doing, man?
Yeah, Coach K is essentially just trying to live off the Duke name at this point when he recruits. I think that's like his
he
whole
probably
thing.
doesn't recruit that much.
No.
Like he sends his other people,
Right.
and then makes a call. But imagine being 74 and not knowing what TikTok is, but being forced to know what TikTok is.
Yeah, that's got to be rough.
It just seems awful.
That's got to be rough. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what these in the NFL. You're seeing younger and younger head coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sean McVay is not a good example. He was 31, I think, when he got hired, and 32 when he started. That's not going to happen very frequently. But even, I mean, some of the more successful coaches have started very young in this new generation. Like John Gruden was 39, I think, when he started, 38, something like that.
The dude in the Browns pretty young, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could see. God, I'm glad Ross isn't here, but I could see Ryan Day ended up in the NFL at some point because he's this really fucking smart guy.
Lincoln Riley probably.
Lincoln Riley could, as well. So there's a lot of those young dudes.
Well, I mean,
The game is going to be a reflection of society, right?
Yeah.
Because the kids are going to be a reflection of society because they are society. If you don't keep up with that shit, you're just going to become Duke in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't, and you don't, especially now the kids don't really, even my generation, don't really, we're not receptive to like hard ass coaches.
Yeah.
We hate hard ass coaches.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Because how many fucking pussy ass coaches do you know that are winning titles? I mean,
Anybody
say what
that
you want
steps
about,
out of LeBron's way.
Yeah. Say what you want about Steve Kerr. I don't know if you know about his dad, but his dad was a professor at American University in Beirut when the Beirut bombings happened at the Marine Corps base there, and he stayed and continued to educate, and then he got assassinated
right?
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's lived overseas. He's seen real fucked up shit, and he's kind of a goofy progressive at sometimes, but when something happens on the court, we've seen this a million times. When something happens on the court that he disagrees with, he's not fucking standing there with his hands in his pocket like Phil Jackson calmly explaining his point. He's like, motherfucker. I've been in the front row of a bunch of Warriors games, and I've never heard such a nice man swear angrily so much in my life. It was almost shocking the first time. I was like, oh shit. But I was just laughing my ass off. I mean, the Warriors are getting their shit kicked out of them in the game, so I was kind of pissed off about that because I had money on it and I had bought the goddamn ticket. But he started going crazy, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Get my popcorn out. I'm like, all right, I got fed today. That's good. But anyways, yeah, why would you want a soft coach?
Yeah.
Like how?
I mean, Tyronn Lue won a title, I guess, but you also have LeBron, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
LeBron was essentially the coach.
LeBron should have been trying to learn from Tom Brady instead of trying to learn from Kobe and Jordan, in my opinion, because those are just two different situations. He was a force. Like, not that Jordan and Kobe weren't, but Jordan and Kobe, all the success they had great players around them. And that's not necessarily the case for LeBron. He went to 8 straight titles, and yeah, he had fucking Bosh and Dwayne Wade, and he had Kyrie Irving. But he wasn't on some. Chris Bosh is one of the most overrated motherfuckers in the last 15 years. Everybody's like, oh, they got a super team. I'm like, a fucking goofy looking chicken guy that scores 17 points a game is part of a super team? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, get out of here.
And old Dwayne Wade.
He wasn't. It was like still prime Dwayne Wade.
He was 33, I think.
The last title was old Dwayne Wade. The first two were like, he was out of his prime by the time they lost to the Spurs.
Yeah. And I mean, look, they put together some good teams. That team with Ray Allen, for example. Well, I mean, that shot that Ray Allen made to save that series when everybody left.
Mike Miller.
Yeah. Mike Miller was great, man. I mean, he wasn't a great player, but he was great at being Mike Miller. Yeah. And Bill Paxton was great at being fucking Bill Paxton. Steve Kerr was great at being Steve Kerr. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's some similarities there. But the thing that Ryan Clark says on ESPN all the time about Brady is he's the best franchise in NFL history. LeBron should have been the franchise. You know what I mean?
Well, I think he is there now.
Yeah, but he is there now. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Doesn't care about personal accolades, it seems, anymore.
No.
Although he does get butt hurt anytime he doesn't win MVP.
Yeah.
That's not an unfair opinion of him to have.
No, he should have won MVP. Absolutely.
And he's probably
still
gonna win
But
he's
still,
definitely going to win it
He's
this
going to
year.
win it this year.
Unless something crazy happens, he's going to win.
Yeah.
Like, he is lighting it the fuck up.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think one of the things he could have learned, like, how many times did you hear Brady and Belichick bitching at each other in the press or anything? Like, 1 or 2 times throughout the entire 18 seasons he was there, 19 seasons he was there. Every fucking coach LeBron James has ever had has been a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that makes you look like a dick.
Except for
I think like
Spoelstra, maybe?
Yeah.
Spoelstra's a
good
great
coach.
fucking coach.
Yeah.
He's not a good coach. Spoelstra is a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I think he's got 2 or 3 more titles in him.
He gets overlooked a lot, obviously, because the Heat, like mega team, the super team, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's a great coach.
He's the
something I want to
best.
see.
Another
though,
young guy to that point, by the
Yeah,
way.
he's just in his early 40s at this
Yeah.
point, right?
Someone that has never really truly unlocked his potential, just because he hasn't had like the right coach that I want to see kind of get in the right system, is Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I don't want to shit on him, obviously, because he's probably the only person who's dealt with like the legitimate consequences of COVID.
30% of COVID deaths are Karl Anthony Towns' family.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. No, he's that Minnesota franchise has forever been garbage.
It's got there's a curse over their head. Or
They've
something.
had
Yeah.
so many fucking great players. They had KG in his fucking prime, and they couldn't do shit with him. I mean, he's the best power forward of all time, in my opinion. Like,
I buy that.
I think he's better than Karl Malone. I think he's like his Karl. What defense did Karl Malone play?
Right.
And how many titles did he
So
win?
Duncan's the center.
Tim Duncan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
would
I
take
guess you
maybe
could
him
say
over Duncan, even if he was
No.
out of skill set and just like
The big fundamental. No.
I mean, if you think about the way Tim Duncan played, I would consider him a center. I mean, I guess maybe there were
I
power.
would probably
he's
say
all
center,
post, yeah.
There were power fours back then, and then there really aren't now. But I consider him a center. The only reason he didn't come into the league as a center is because Tim Duncan or David Robinson was already there.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think talent wise, he's probably the best power forward of all time. They couldn't do shit. And then probably the top 20 power forwards of all time, Kevin Love, probably maybe the best shooting power forward that we've ever seen. Nothing.
Yeah.
They got nothing. And now they had look, I think Andrew Wiggins is like he's going to be a good player on shitty teams his whole career.
he's a great fantasy basketball draft pick.
Exactly.
Yeah. For as many
He'll
people,
dump in numbers for a dog shit
people
team.
dump on him, but he'll put up 20 points a game.
Yep. 22, 23 actually, and he'll get 6 assists as well. Doesn't play great defense, but Karl Anthony Towns is a supremely talented young man.
Yeah.
Like he should be playing at the level of AD in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's got that skill set. AD is much more polished. AD is a very smart guy. Like he understands exactly what the fuck he's doing on the court, what he's good at and what he's not. I really like him. Not as a person so much, but I like his game. But Karl Anthony Towns, in his 4th year now, seems like a rookie. He seems raw.
I think he's been in the league for a minute now, at least.
He's 24, right? I think he came in at 21.
Yeah, I'll look
or
it
he's
up.
25.
No, he came in at
21?
19. He was a one and done
Yeah.
too.
On a better team, on a better Kentucky team than Anthony Davis is, as far as I'm concerned. Even though
That
Anthony Davis won
undefeated
it all.
team until
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
He's
20,
25.
25, yeah.
25,
Yeah,
right.
so
2016 is when he. Yeah.
So this is his 5th year in the league.
Yeah. Or 2015.
He still seems in a lot of ways like he's a rookie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if maybe he just doesn't have good court awareness, but he doesn't turn the ball over that much. He just doesn't. I mean, he hasn't had anybody that plays good team basketball around him except for JJ Barea. I mean, what the fuck, man? Like, it wasn't Wiggin. Wiggin doesn't know how to distribute the ball. When you give a guy a 33% usage rate and he doesn't know how to distribute, your team will fucking suffer every single time. This
He had
is
Jimmy Butler, but
yeah, that's
they
true.
didn't like each other.
No, they
Jimmy Butler was mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe
he
Karl
totally
Anthony Towns is just a pussy then.
Yeah, I kind of think he is a little soft.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Speaking of soft, the SEC, unlike the Big Ten, who were like, oh fuck, they eat each other alive, they're fucking deep. The SEC is getting that like sort of like comparison. Nobody thinks the SEC is as good as the Big Ten, but they are kind of like, oh, they must be deep, like they keep beating each other. No, it's all mediocre.
It's hard to tell until you start playing outside teams. What's the SEC's record against the other Power 5
They
conferences?
had that Big 12 tournament where it was Big 12 teams against SEC.
They won the Big 12 SEC challenge, but barely, and the
matchups-
Texas Kentucky game was canceled. Mizzou beat Mizzou beat Illinois non-conference. Florida beat West Virginia in that Big 12 SEC challenge. But dude, like these teams are just so incomplete.
And Mizzou keeps blowing leads.
Mizzou blew a 13-point lead against Georgia in the second half.
You can't lose
yesterday.
to Georgia. Georgia's trash.
Yeah, when's the last time Georgia had a good fucking
Like
team?
never. like fucking never.
I mean, they had Anthony Edwards last year, and they still suck.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia fucking sucks. Tennessee lost to LSU, who's ranked pretty low in Ken Pom. Like, Arkansas is ranked now, and they have 0 good wins outside of them beating Missouri. Like this weekend.
I mean, but they beat Florida, right? Florida's a pretty good team.
They were.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Until, their best player went into a coma.
Yeah. But Florida's another one of those, they're like Florida State, I guess. This is a super athletic team. Very rare they have, like, a great player or a great shooter for some reason. I mean, they'll have, like...
They had those Donovan teams where...
They did have great shooters. They had Bradley Beal and Cheezel.
Beal, and then Miller went there too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so they've had onesie, twosie here or there, but they've never had, like, 2 wing guys that could shoot or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's never like 2 lottery picks on the same team, but they're a pretty steady team. Well, until
that Joakim Noah
players
team
die.
had a bunch of
I hate Joakim Noah, man. He's like, that's something about his face.
It is.
I don't like it
Because he plays like a guy you want on your team, but you just don't want to look at him.
If he's on your team, you love him. If he's not on your team, you want to murder
It's like Draymond Green. Imagine if Draymond Green leaves Golden State and some new fan base. Like, imagine he goes to Philly with those fans.
Oh, God.
And then they have to learn to love him. I mean, that would be hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Blake Griffin is available now, right? Where's he going? I mean, they're trying to trade him, right?
I mean, he's trying to get the fuck out of Detroit.
Everybody is trying to get the fuck out of Detroit. Even
Jared Goff
even
trying to get out of
RoboCop is
Detroit,
trying to get the fuck out now. I don't know. Is Jared Goff really trying to get out?
Probably.
Why would he want to be there?
He got traded from L.A., so it's like...
Yeah, but nobody comes to those games. At least the Detroit fans will show up to the fucking games.
Yeah, that's true. Super fan in Detroit Don.
Yeah. Those 2 guys at least. I don't know. I don't know with the SEC. It's hard to tell. I can't find it. I don't know if there's a way to look up their record versus the other conferences. But
I assume it's about 500, maybe a little over, maybe a little under.
But even then, it's kind of hard to tell because the parity internally in a conference like that, you know way more about those teams than you do about the other teams. So you're going to play each other tougher. It's like playing playoff games, which is not a good representation.
When Kentucky's down, everybody thinks the SEC is kind of trash. And Tennessee's been down this year. They're kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, you should not be getting beat by LSU if you're Tennessee at this point. And you're
look at this. The best team in the SEC is probably Alabama.
Right.
Alabama's best non-conference win was against
Stanford.
No, they lost to Stanford.
Oh, they lost to Stanford.
It was probably against Providence. All right, they lost to Stanford. They lost to Clemson. They lost to Western Kentucky. They lost to Oklahoma, and then they lost to Missouri. But Bama's talented. They have good guards. Like I love. What's his name? I always forget it. John Petty. I fucking love John Petty. He's a senior. He's 6'5". He looks, even though he probably won't be that great of an NBA player, he just looks like a dude who's in the NBA, and he can shoot. This is a good 3-point shooting team, so if they get hot, there might be 3 teams in a row that they play in the tournament that are just fucked. But they're the best team. They don't have any good non-conference wins. Tennessee was the best team going into the season. They beat Colorado, who is a good team, but they beat them in the first game of the year. And now they're losing every other game, basically, because they're...
Who do you take, Rick Barnes or Nate Oates?
Oates all the way.
Oates all the way.
Yeah, Alabama has a great coach, too. Nate Oates is a really good fucking coach.
I mean, Barnes kind of just like popped smoke on Clemson and told him to get fucked, right?
Texas, yeah.
Texas, I mean, yeah.
Texas, so the funny
kinda
thing
ran
was
them out.
Barnes and Mac Brown each got fired within like a year of each other at UT, and UT has never been as good since then, but UT is like, we deserve better, but they don't.
They think they deserve better because they have a big endowment.
Right.
Like, just because you have money doesn't mean people want to come
They
play
have a
there.
failed network with ESPN.
It's fucking insane.
So the premise here is that the SEC sucks. But
it's mediocre.
Is there something?
Alabama's fine.
Is there something to be said for playing a season full of very close basketball games and having that pedigree, if you want to call it that, and then going into a single elimination tournament? I think there's something to be said for that. We talk about with Clemson in football all the time. They play a bullshit schedule all year and then show up in the playoffs, and you don't know what the fuck they're going to do.
But I guess the comparison is the Pac-12, where it's just a bunch of mediocre teams beating each other up.
That's true, yeah, and they suck.
Yeah.
For a lot. I mean,
like
when's the
everyone
last
just thinks
time-
like Oregon or USC suck, but if they have 2 losses, but it's just like the Pac-12 eats itself in football. SEC kind of this year in basketball.
Yeah, the only difference is that an SEC team can still have a chance to win the tournament or to win the title just because everyone gets into the tournament kind of.
Yeah, any given Sunday thing in college football, I don't think that's a thing.
No.
Maybe in the NFL to some degree, but not in the playoffs.
And it's going to be the same 3 teams in basketball or in football every year.
Like I would like to see which sports have the most upsets in playoff series. I would assume it's probably baseball, right?
Yeah,
because baseball's had. I mean, shit. Both times the Marlins won, they were fucking wild card teams. How many wild card teams have won?
A lot.
The Angels were a wild card team, I think, that year.
Yeah, I think
right, because
so.
Oakland won the AL West.
The Red Sox were a wild card team, although I don't know if I count that when they won in 04.
Yeah, that was a different kind of situation, obviously.
Nationals, right? A few years ago.
Nationals were a wild card team because the Braves won that goddamn division that year.
So there's a lot of that. How many times has an 8 seed won the NBA Finals? I would say 0 probably.
It's never
It's
happened.
only made it once.
Yeah.
And that was in a shortened strike season. The Knicks.
That was the Knicks, Knicks Spurs.
Was
yeah.
that 94?
The
no, 98, 99.
I guess the most iconic.
Oh, it had to be 99. Yeah.
The most iconic A seed is the Grizzlies when they beat.
Oh
the
yeah,
Mavs,
with big.
Or no, I'm sorry, not the Grizzlies. The
Warriors.
Warriors with Baron Davis.
With Baron Davis, yeah, that was 2014, 13.
No, that was like 2006.
Yeah.
Oh, was it that far ago?
Yeah, it was
God damn.
a while ago.
Or not 13. I don't want to say that. It's 2003, but it was 2006, right?
The old school Warrior jerseys.
But how many? I mean, how many wild card NFL teams have won
The
the
Giants.
Super Bowl? The Giants are the only one.
They did it twice, I think, against the Patriots.
Oh wait, did the AC Grizzlies beat the Spurs too?
Yes, the
8-1?
AC
Okay,
Grizzlies
so
beat
that's
the
what I was
Spurs,
thinking.
but they didn't.
Not in the finals though.
No, first round.
But that was that big country on that team. That's who I was thinking of. That big fucking dum dum. Remember him? And those old ass like bright teal green fucking uniforms they showed up with the first season.
Oh no, this was like the modern Grizzlies jerseys at that point.
And
they
then-
had who was that fucking guy on Maryland, the Hispanic dude who was like awesome in college, and then
Gomez,
I gotta look it
the
up.
guy he was a guard, right? Or was
Yes.
he was a tall shooting guard.
on the
Yes.
2002 Maryland team.
No, it was Maryland.
I know I can see his face in my head
the
right
national
now.
championship Maryland team, or
They were just a really, really good Maryland, and he was like kind of a big. Oh, Grievous Vasquez.
Oh, Vasquez,
General
yeah.
Grievous.
He was good.
Yeah. He was on that Grizzlies team, and he was like, that Grizzlies team was so mediocre, but they like Grievous Vasquez
Grit
had
and
like
grind.
the grit and grind dudes. Obviously, Mike Conley was on that team, and I fucking love Mike Conley.
Gasol.
Yeah, I feel bad for Mike Conley. He's another guy that was just not used properly. I was thinking of Willie.
Well, he's in Utah
Hernan
right now.
Gomez.
Utah's the number 1 seed in the West right now.
Look, man. I don't. Utah's got the team they have on the court is better than the Nuggets, right? Overall, I think it is.
Yeah.
With Donovan Mitchell and fucking Gobert and your guy, that's a better team than Jokic and what's his nuts, the guard. Fuck is his name?
Murray.
Murray, yeah. I think Utah's got more talent, but they cannot get it together. Is it their weird ass fucking Mormon coach?
Quinn Snyder, he's not Mormon. No.
He's not Mormon at all. He was doing cocaine at Mizzou when he was a coach there.
He's a
Well, good for him.
dirtbag.
He looks
He's a
like
total dirtbag.
doesn't he look
yeah.
like a Mormon though?
No, he looks like a
No.
dirtbag.
No,
He's a total
his
dirtbag.
hair is too nice for me.
No, he slicks
he
it back.
has like weird, sweaty cocaine hair.
Is it?
He has
Well, I guess by
mafia
the
hair.
by the middle of the game, it's fucked up. Yeah,
He
it's true.
almost looks like a broken Patrick Bateman.
When I lived in Salt Lake City, I was right around. So my apartment was here, and then 2 blocks this way was the arena.
Yeah.
Right. So the games there are so weird. That's such a weird. You hear people yelling at the refs as you do at any professional
Right.
sports game, but they're not using profanity and shit. There's like a lot of replacement words, and nobody's drinking. I'm like, what the
So
fuck
it's like
is
a
happening
Phillip
here?
Rivers type of situation.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
One of my favorite lines from anything ever was Book of Mormon, where the guy's like, "My dad used to beat me every time the Utah Jazz lost."
Well, they lost a lot.
Yeah.
I guess not in the late 90s.
Dan's favorite team, Villanova.
Yep.
Who I am short on all fucking year.
Also, historically, they're the highest seed to win a tournament, right? 8 seed, Villanova, 1985. think that's
What
right.
was the UConn team? Won as an 8 seed too, I think.
Yeah.
Which one? Was that Shabazz was an 8 seed, or was that what's his
Kemba?
name? Kemba. Yeah.
I think it was Shabazz. Yeah. Which UConn has another one of those teams this year with James Bouknight.
Do they? Are they getting in?
Bouknight's kind of waiting to see if they're going to get in the tournament, but they should. They should get in the tournament. Yeah.
Okay.
They're kind of on the bubble right now, but yeah, let UConn play.
Well, you know.
You got to earn it. I know. They got Villanova up, right? They're up next, or did they already play Villanova?
Let me check.
Days
that
are starting
real
to
quick.
blend together.
Yeah, it's all
I haven't
the
had power in
fucking
3 days.
same at this point. You're so slow.
Why don't you just?
How many games has Villanova had canceled now?
A ton.
Like,
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
they
had,
were
like-
on break for about 3 weeks, almost a month.
But even since then, they had that. They had a game a week ago that was canceled. Then they played Marquette. God, has Marquette ever been good except for Dwayne Wade went there, right?
They were good after.
They're good
They had a
la-
really good white guy 3-point shooting team.
No,
a
they were
couple
good
years
last
after
year
that.
with Marcus Howard.
And the Hauser Bros.
Well, the Hauser Bros actually left because of Marcus Howard. There was only one ball, so they couldn't all shoot. They
Yeah.
hated Marcus Howard.
And now the Hauser.
So Villanova having here's one of the things that I used to think about as a Warriors fan back in the day. When I first got there in Oakland, like I stopped watching basketball after Shaq left the Lakers. Like I was a huge fan when Jordan was rocking people's ass. I grew up watching him because I lived in South Carolina and it's just like the Cubs or the Braves, right? There was only some certain teams.
You weren't a fan of the Big Cactus or Big Shamrock?
No.
Shaq on the Celtics
No, that was weird.
and the Suns.
No, to be honest, as great as they were, and there's no question that David Robinson and Tim Duncan and fucking half the guys that played on that goddamn team are Hall of Famers, right? But that Spurs team was boring as shit. And once Shaq left the Lakers, I'm like, all right, I don't really care about this anymore. I didn't really watch a lot of basketball there for a while, but I was a huge, for whatever reason, Del Curry fan back in the day when I was a kid growing up. I don't know why. I just like the way the guy played.
Random.
Yeah, it is random. So then his kid started playing, like he was blowing up the tournament and stuff. I'm like, oh, who's this kid? All of a sudden he gets drafted to the team that I'm, close to. So start watching all that shit, and they were bad. Holy shit, they were bad. Especially that year where Steph's ankles got fucked up.
Yeah.
That's some of the worst basketball I've ever seen played at the professional level. But then they got really good, right?
They got rid of Monte Ellis.
Monte
they
Ellis
just-
is definitely a fantasy basketball
Yeah,
player.
he was. I mean, he definitely put up some stats, but that's about it. So I watched that shit for a while and got really into it, and it became pretty easy to tell. I mean, there was that one season. The season they won 73 games. I think there were 15 games that season where they were down by 15 or more points in the third quarter and still won a game. And they had a streak. It was like 11 in a row that they had won like that. I'm like, holy shit. So you just felt like they were going to win all the games. But I think in the NBA, and I don't know if this is the same. I don't know as much about college basketball as I do about the NBA, but if I see my team lose by double digits, I don't really care about that. That doesn't mean anything. If they lose by 4, 5, or 6, I'm like, fuck that, man. You guys fucked something up. Like there was execution in the last 2 minutes of that game that made you lose that game, which makes me think you're not going to win at the playoffs.
Right, and if you lose
Is
in
that
double
this-
digits, it's usually fouls. They kind of add up.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it's garbage time or whatever the fuck you put your dum-dums in. So Villanova's lost 2
of
games.
their last 4.
2 of their last 4 by double digits. Does that concern you, or is it just like...
I think it's coming back from COVID.
Anyone,
We kind of gave that recommendation. Any team that's coming back from COVID, kind of fade them.
man, if there any team, especially once you're
Texas.
filling out your bracket, if there are teams that had recent COVID breaks and you're on the fence about it, take the team that didn't have the COVID break. Like for fucking real, because the difference is,
I mean, there's a lot of variables there.
there is, but if a team say gets eliminated early in their conference tournament, they're still practicing. If they're on a COVID break, they're not doing fucking
Also,
shit.
who knows who has COVID and like what that does to the players' lungs and
Yeah.
shit. Just trying to get back in shape.
Yeah.
Michigan's fine now because none of their players actually had COVID. They just had that stupid rule with their athletic director where
Yeah.
if one program in the entire
What? That's Governor Whitmer bullshit,
okay.
right?
So like the women's basketball team gets COVID, so the men's basketball team has to sit out or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't really make sense.
The fuck?
But,
All right, cool.
You know what else doesn't make sense? That we have an ad read. And if you don't have this fucking app on your phone, that doesn't make sense to me. Especially if you watch this show and you like to gamble. If you don't have the DraftKings Sportsbook app on your phone or the DraftKings app in general for fantasy sports, I don't know what to tell you with like what you're doing with your life. It's easily the best gambling app that you can get in the Google Play or the iTunes store. If you like playing fantasy sports and winning money on a weekly basis instead of like waiting a whole year to win $100 from your friends who might not pay you, or your worst case scenario is like they make you wear I don't know, some like penis tiara from a bachelorette party on a street corner.
Nah, we're all about dollar bills around here, and
Yeah.
making Ross get stupid haircuts too. But that's a whole other thing. But
Yes.
yeah, DraftKings is dope because it's like fucking betting Hawaii at midnight. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like you're chasing it all the time, but it's kind of lower level, right? So you're getting that dopamine hit, but you're not fucking yourself over all the time. That's why I like them, and I want to do like maybe once a week. We do a fucking baseball draft for 1 day a week or something like that. Everybody drafts, and we'll fucking do something cool with it. We haven't figured it out yet. We're still talking to those guys, but I do like their setup quite a bit.
No, the baseball thing is incredible. And if you like college basketball, I have a working theory that a lot of people don't believe, but I don't care. That most people aren't informed on college basketball. So if you know college basketball, you can make fantasy lineups on the DraftKings app for college basketball too to win money on that.
I mean, you've got the odds are much better to win on DraftKings doing lineups like that than they are to fucking win a bracket.
Right.
Like, there's no fucking way that you're winning that bracket.
No,
come on, man.
No, because like some girl in your office who's like a Jayhawk.
Who's never heard of. She's like, I just go, my ex-girlfriend's sister, this woman I dated like years ago, her sister was like, oh, I just pick them based on their outfits. I'm like, you mean the uniform? She goes, outfits, yeah. I'm like, God damn it.
She just walks home with like $1,000.
She probably won, yeah.
Hey man, that's a lot of research actually. You got to go team by team and just look at their uniform. So
that's true. You got to check out the color
yeah.
patterns and stuff like that. But please download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Download the DraftKings app in general. You can use the promo code BROS on there. You can, if you are in New Jersey, Michigan, Indiana, or Virginia, you can bet anything sports-wise. Like we're talking spreads, lines,
Straight up
overs,
sportsbook,
unders,
yeah.
straight up sportsbook. Anywhere else, you can win money. It's basically the same thing as gambling. So I don't know how it's legal, but whatever. It sounds awesome.
I like the daily fantasy golf lineups too.
Yeah, daily.
This week we have Riviera, so it's one of the best courses in the world. You know, you got a nice little lineup there. I'll follow Max Homa as my pick for that week.
God damn it, dude.
Always.
Save that shit for later.
Always the dirty
You
game.
son of a bitch.
Golf picks.
We've got another one. We got Policy Genius today. It's for home and auto insurance, right?
Oh.
So they don't do. It's well. I'll just go through their shit here. It's the shortest month of the year, which always reminds me of that tweet from what's his nuts from Game of Thrones. What is his name? Tyrion Lannister.
Oh,
yeah.
Like he tweeted out,
Oh, yeah.
they made a Game of Thrones calendar and put him on February. He's like, you gave me the shortest months, you
Yeah,
motherfuckers.
it's like Black History Month.
Yeah. Policy Genius helps you do two things at once: compare home and auto insurance rates, and then you can save up to like $1,000 per year by reshopping. Right. So it's here's how it works. I'll just go through it with you because I've actually used it because one of the company that I used to use for insurance that is here sucks. They fucking suck. Anyways, go to policygenius.com and you answer a few questions about yourself and your property, and they compare it. They compare your situation with whatever quotes you would get from 30 different places all at once. So you don't have to go to 15 different fucking websites. You just do it all right there. Progressive, nationwide, they find you the lowest rate for the coverage that you need. Because look, if you're doing it for a company like us, there's certain needs we have. We have to have a company level insurance policy, so any of you dicks can drive any of the cars, right?
Yep.
It's just you answer their questions and they'll give you exactly what you need. They're all about maximizing the savings and stuff like that. And if they find a rate that is better than the one you're using now, they'll switch you over for free. Like they handle all that stuff.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
it's really nice. So if you're worried if the March is just around the corner and you haven't gotten anything done this year yet, which a lot of people feel like that, it seems like this year's kind of zipping by until this week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For Texans anyways. But yeah, Policy Genius can help you in just a few minutes do this. And look, some of these legacy insurance companies have been increasing their prices without giving you any additional benefit, particularly during COVID. I mean, some of them gave you dividends back. Like, oh, you weren't driving as much, so here's some of your money back. Like, Jesus Christ, you fucking kidding me? But home and auto insurance, you can save up to like $1,100. It's like $1,055. Go to policygenius.com to get started now. Policy Genius. When it comes to insurance, it's nice to get it right because getting it wrong is just a waste of fucking money, man.
And
I
time,
hate that
yeah.
shit. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to end up dealing like right now, a lot of people's homes have flooded.
Yeah, because every pipe in the city is bursted.
Yeah, and
that's fun.
That is not optimal.
Oh, every pipe in the city is actually made out of hard cardboard.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's the same thing they make straws out of at these fucking hipster places now. Yeah. Anyways, so what else do we have going on in college basketball?
We got a couple other things. I'll just speed through real quick. Florida State crushed a hot Virginia team, but like we talked about, Florida State probably gonna jack it off.
I mean,
in the tournament.
Florida State is like that. They're like that Denver Nuggets team from a couple years ago that just every time the Warriors went to Denver, they got the shit kicked out of them. Like every single, like this team is not good, man.
Yeah.
They go in there, they would lose every game. I think they lost 3 out of the 4 games they played that year against Denver. Both games in Denver by 12 points or more or something like that. Like what the fuck is going on here? But they were super athletic. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yep.
It's like a team. They just jacks. It's like that team. I guess the Rockets. That first season that Harden was over there when they were just shooting like 25, 30 threes a game or whatever. I mean, if you come out hot and hit those threes, you're going to win the game. This is how it is. Man.
Yes.
It's how math works.
You just know how Leonard Hamilton team's going to be every year. Just
pretty much.
Long, athletic, can't shoot.
One last thing on the recap. Loyola Chicago, the Final Four darling from a couple of years ago with the nun.
Sister fucking Jean.
Sister Jean. They are ranked in the Ken Pom top 10. They're in the top 25 AP.
Still?
Yes.
They just lost to Drake.
They are in the top 10.
They just lost 51-50 in a rock fight.
I know. They just beat Drake. Also, they're ranked number 9, although Alabama's ranked number 8, so take that all with a grain of salt if you want.
Is Sister Jean still doing her thing?
Yeah, she's still alive.
Ugh.
Dude, there's
still rolling out to
nuns
games?
live forever.
Yeah.
Nuns don't fucking die.
That's fair.
Because they're married to God, and God doesn't want to meet his wives. Another deep tournament run coming for Loyola?
I think she's a crisis actor. I think Sister Jean's a crisis
What's the
actor.
opposite of a crisis actor, where you're an actor, but it's for a good thing?
Inside the Crisis Actor studio, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
She just came out of the woodwork. I've never heard of her before.
You have also mentioned our underporn, by the way. Loyola Chicago versus Drake. That game finished 51-50 in overtime.
Sucked.
In overtime.
I watched that game.
It took an extra 5 minutes for them to push it across 100.
What was the over-under for the game?
Not over 101. Garen fucking teed. I want to say Loyola Chicago in the game before that scored 80 on their own.
Yeah.
They did. Loyola Chicago scored 81 points on their own the game before that. So I don't know if Drake just like fucking Tanya Harding to dude. What's the husband name?
Jeff Gillooly.
Yeah, Jeff Gillooly to fucking guy on Loyola.
Well, that was. I don't know if that was her husband or if that was the other. There was 2 dum-dums. Anyways.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's our underpoint of this week. I can't even possibly read through that game. That's the type of game where sometimes we like to read the rundown, but clearly that game was just so slow that it looks like a basket was scored every third possession because it was.
Also,
because
if you
every
watched-
possession was 30 plus seconds.
If you watch that game, you have to question a lot of your like priorities.
Man, if
Like,
you're-
what's going on in your life that you're
What I
watching
don't
that game?
understand. Can you explain to me why there's a longer shot clock and a shorter 3-point line in college? What's the fucking point of
I
that?
just assume they're more incompetent, which is correct.
It is.
So the fuck what? If people will rise to the level of the challenge in front of them every
No, I
single
agree.
time.
30 seconds is still too long.
30 seconds is way too long,
It
and
was
18
longer.
feet for a 3-point. Oh, it's 19 feet. 19 feet for a
They moved it
3-pointer.
out
That
a
is
bit,
that's ridiculous.
Just
Yeah.
make everything universal.
Yeah, why would
I don't care
why
about
would it be
high
different?
school.
Like the baseball is not different in high school than it is in the pros.
Metal
The
bats.
bat is, but
You're
I
right.
mean, a lot of teams. The reason for
The
that
bases
is
aren't different. You played 90-foot bases in like 7th grade.
for before then even.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're 13, I think is when that starts. So.
Yeah.
I don't understand, or 12, I don't remember. Anyways, I don't understand the purpose of that shit. It just seems like it's built like, especially nowadays, with even in high school, guys are shooting from farther and farther back.
And the NBA, I think, is further back than the Olympics, right?
Yeah, the Olympics are weird. They get that weird trapezoid bullshit. Like, get the fuck
That's
out of
like
here.
Euro
like the
basketball.
FIBA
Yeah,
rules.
like
yeah.
get out of here with that shit.
Just make everything universal.
Like, can you
Pick one
imagine
thing.
if the World Cup of soccer was in the United States and we did change shit on the field?
Penalty
Like,
kicks
what
are
the
further
fuck?
back,
Yeah,
yeah.
like get the fuck out of here, man.
If anything, the NBA should bring the 3-point line in to match the FIBA.
Nah.
I kind of like just more points.
Make
Fuck
it further.
Maybe I like the fact I like where the 3-point line in the NBA is because it really spreads the floor and it
That's
allows
true.
like your slashers
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to, like LeBron James would not be able to do what he does now in college basketball at all.
Yeah.
And it's not because he doesn't have the abilities, because there's not fucking room.
It'd be
There's a
too
limited
cramped,
amount of room,
yeah.
So I like that, and I think it's like, again, going back to this college thing. What are we doing? What is that university doing? Because look, if you're a fucking top 10 or top 15 player, your college is making way fucking more money off of you than you're getting in benefit from them. It's not even
100%.
goddamn close.
To be fair, though, I guess unless you sign a sweetheart deal because you're a huge prospect, G League pays less than what a college tuition costs for a lot of these
For
guys.
sure, yeah, absolutely. But that's a problem, that there's not enough good competitive talent in the G League to make it a
Right.
marketable thing, right?
I think they started a new thing with $100,000, right? For certain players
Oh,
that come
yeah.
in.
Some people can get paid a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
so.
the pay should be based on the fucking revenue that they're generating.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, and that's how every major sport works. I mean, we see the NFL salary caps coming down, the NBA salary caps coming down because nobody's fucking watching this shit anymore. And everybody, you can bitch all you want to about WNBA players making $50,000 a year. Make some money for us, and then we'll give you some of it. That's how it fucking works. It's not like they're upside down. The NBA fucking funds all that
Subsidizes
shit.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not like they're making money and it's getting withheld out of greed.
The only thing I would say about the WNBA salaries, like, you could maybe toss them an extra $20,000 and be like, you need to invest that in becoming something that people give a shit about watching in terms of personality wise. Because right now they have to spend the offseason in Australia, just like making extra, like playing in your fucking grandma's league just to make an extra, like, you know.
And to be honest, I mean, you have to at some point at least allow for the possibility that it's never going to work.
Yes.
Because it did not take very long for women's soccer to be very competitive and very good at drawing in. They make more money than the men's team by a wide margin.
Yeah.
Like, they make way more money than the men's team does. So when I say they, I mean U.S. women's national team makes more money than U.S. men's national team makes. Not the players, but the fucking women's team makes more. They generate more revenue and more eyeballs because they're good at what they're doing. Anyways.
I think they also get a bigger percentage.
Yeah,
of
they
the grand scheme of
negotiated
thing,
differently.
yeah.
I mean, that was that whole thing with Megan
Rapinoe.
Rapinoe a couple years ago, like, fucking we aren't getting this or that. Like, you negotiated that deal, you stupid bitch. The fuck are you talking about? You're the one that negotiated. That's what you guys asked for.
To be fair, what athlete listens to their contract anymore?
I don't know. I mean, if you're not listening to it, then you can't really bitch about it after the fact. But anyways, it took them, when people started getting serious about women's soccer, was when they had real success and a little bit of success in 92, 94. During some of the friendlies, they really started to show they were competitive on the world stage, and then they won. What was it? 98. And it did not take very long for that to go from a serious thing to a championship level thing. The WNBA will never get there, ever. It will never ever happen. So what's the fucking point of doing this? I mean, it's embarrassing to me.
It's the type of thing where you just have to, like, not really, like, care about the level of play. Like, as a tennis fan, like, I watch women's tennis not because I'm like, they're just as good as the men, but because I'm like, oh, I like this player.
Well, I mean, look, I think Serena Williams in her prime probably could have beat most of the men, frankly.
I don't know. I think
so.
she's even been on record saying like a
No,
middle of the run.
she said she wouldn't win a point against Andy Murray, who was a top 4 player at his best, but
and that she would lose to like, the middle of the road
Andy
tennis
Murray's
player.
one of the fucking most overrated tennis players of all
I
time.
fully
right?
fucking agree.
Like, he was a good-looking American dude, so people wanted him to be good, but he was
No, that's
not.
Andy Roddick.
Roddick. Andy
Roddick.
Murray's
the Scottish
The
guy.
Scottish guy, yeah. No, against Nadal or somebody like that, she's gonna get fucking lit
Smoked,
up,
yeah.
obviously. But she would probably win in the first round every time she played. I would think.
so. I think she gets fucking railroaded.
Maybe.
That's got to be annoying though if you're like a women's basketball player where every guy thinks he can beat you.
Oh, they talk about
They
that.
just talk about
Okay,
it all the
well,
time.
I mean, let's do talk about that because I think they're probably right. I think the best men's AAU teams, 16-year-old AAU teams, could beat any WNBA team any day of the week.
Oh,
I think it
so
would
that's
be
the thing with soccer too, right? Like
Well,
all the-
that did happen.
Yeah.
But they
in soccer.
complain about, like, I see this because I follow, like, former Mizzou women's basketball players that I would, like, follow, whatever. And they complain all the time about Not talking about AAU dudes.
Talking about,
but
like,
guys they
fraternity
date.
intramural
Guys
teams,
they
yeah.
date. They're like, I bet I could take you in basketball. Or like, and they're like, shut the like. It'd be like me if I was like, hey, Sophie Cunningham, like it was.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we start like a rough and rowdy style thing
Where we play
like,
just women's
But
sports.
we play against women in their sport and see if we can win. Not us personally. I just mean we pick people that are non-professional athletes to play against professional athletes and see what happens. I don't think they would agree to that because they're going to get embarrassed.
Yeah, they're not like it's a lose-lose situation for them.
I would love to stand in the box against a fast pitch softball pitcher.
Fuck that.
Yeah, that's weird. No, that's too weird.
Barry Bonds did that against
Jenny
Finch.
Yeah.
In the 2002 All-Star game, I believe it was, and she lit his ass up. I think he fouled off one ball.
Really?
Yeah.
You're just not used to that delivery.
Yeah.
No, and she was throwing gas. She's throwing like 72 miles per hour
At
from
a shorter
45 feet.
distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that.
Yeah.
I think the equivalent was
Like 105.
it's
or
probably in
something.
the low hundreds or high 90s at least,
Yeah.
right? Which is even for Bonds at that time, that was like peak HGH, where his pupils were tiny. He was seeing every fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Worried he's going to put the ball
He
in her
couldn't.
body.
He couldn't do that. But I mean, seriously, like an under. I think it was the under 18 or under 16 and under
Men's national team.
U14.
This
the U14 FC Dallas team beat the women's team in a
Yeah,
practice.
so an
this
MLS
past-
team, they're under 14 team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one's probably not great.
Yeah.
Right. And I to be honest, I think you could go find guys playing like on the and one circuit if that's still a thing. That would,
Hot sauce.
yeah.
The
that
professor?
Would, like there's no any competitive men's basketball team at any level would beat any NBA team. I think.
Yeah.
Right, but I think
WNBA
they're
team, yeah.
they're more annoyed by like the average show that's like just talking.
Well, let's
shit
do
to
that.
them. Yeah,
Let's do that.
they'll never do it.
If these I mean like the WNBA women would not, but college basketball women
Right.
that are just like dicking around now that are also amateur, let's fucking do it. Let's put it together. I'll
Yeah.
play. I don't give a shit.
I'd feel better about a 4 or a 5 than I would about a guard.
You would feel better.
I would
in what
feel
way?
better facing like because like a 4 in say women's college basketball is probably like what 6'4".
Maybe 6'3", 6'2",
Yeah.
6'3".
But at least
less athletic.
less athletic, but a
Super
guard.
slow, yeah.
I'd rather do that than a 5'6" guard who might be quick as fuck.
Yeah, the guard is going to be low center of gravity, and they're going to be stealing the ball a lot. I
and
imagine.
they can shoot.
Well, they can't shoot over me. I'll fucking sling that ball into the stands every single time.
Fundamentals.
There's
They're gonna
no
pump
way
fake
they
you.
shoot
Yeah.
from down here. None of them shoot from over the top of their head, right?
Yeah.
None of them do. Like there's 2 or 3 women in the entire NBA that shoot the ball properly. They shoot from back here because they have they have less upper body strength, right? If you try to shoot from down here on me, I don't give a fuck how tall you are. That thing is getting rejected.
And for
every
what it's
single
worth,
time.
it's wild how many men's college babasketball players shoot
Yeah,
from
it's
about
weird,
this
dude.
level.
It's weird. You don't see that very much, but there are.
God, fucking Remy Martin at Arizona State just
Who's
Drew,
the
Drew
ugliest?
Smith at Mizzou. His 3-pointer is just
The ugliest jump shot I've ever seen has got to be
Lonzo?
Sean Marion, I think.
okay.
And Lonzo's pretty bad though, like coming from. Although he's fixed it a little bit, but it's still his. By the way, LaMelo is way better.
yes.
Right. I don't. Is anybody
The
debating that anymore?
Hornets are fun to watch.
Yeah.
they're actually
LaMelo Ball is going to be a fucking Hall of Fame basketball player, I think. Lonzo is probably going to be an All-Star. To be honest, I mean he's pretty good.
you get a fan vote all
pretty
star. I don't know if
whatever,
he's
yeah.
like be like a worthy all star,
We'll see.
but
It
good
depend-
enough to like.
If his shooting ability develops, like he's already learning a lot on he's playing better defense, like markedly better defense this year than he played in his rookie season.
He's
which
a great
is,
passer.
He is a very good passer. That is a skill. If you see young guys that are guards picking up defense in their first couple of years in the league, that person is going to win a title at some point because that is one of the hallmarks. Like good guard and wing defense is one of the hallmarks of every championship team that you've ever seen, right?
I think that Pelicans team is just a mess though.
It's
It's too much. Like Zion,
they took parts of the Warriors system over. Homeboy did,
yeah.
but not Steph Curry.
Yeah.
You can't run that kind of shit without somebody that can drill threes from 28
Right.
to 30 feet. I mean, it's just not how it
anywhere.
works, man. And Zion can't shoot still.
No, he shoots everything inside the paint.
Yeah.
Which
And you
it
just can't-
works. It still works.
It works, but three's bigger than 2. That's why Ben Simmons is never going to be a
Right.
fucking great basketball player until he learns how to shoot the goddamn ball, man. It's not.
We don't know.
It's repetitions.
Just do it.
Right?
Just let it go.
If you can't do it, then it is what it is. But don't be a point forward.
it's
if
just
you
a
can't
mental.
shoot.
It's a mental yip.
Like
right?
even it's got to be right.
'Cause
Even
he just refuses.
like LeBron when he first came to the league couldn't shoot fucking shit, man. But he is a very good 3-point shooter now. Like he's above average 3-point shooter, and at times certain seasons he's been great. I'm surprised. Probably the only reason he hasn't had one of those 50, 40, 90 seasons, I think, is one because he sucks at free throws sometimes.
Yeah, it's very weird.
But it's high volume, right?
Yeah.
He just shoots too much to do that. I mean, Steph Curry and Steve Nash are the only high volume guys other than Larry Bird to ever go 50, 40, 90, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Sounds right.
Like the other guys who have done it are lower level players, I believe. Like Steve Nash did it 4 times, I think.
Jerry West, maybe? If we want to go back.
I don't think that counts because black people weren't allowed to play basketball back then, so that doesn't really count.
Yeah. Anything prior to 1970 in the NBA is pretty. It's Larry Bird and then like Malcolm Brogdon, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant.
Oh, Kevin Durant did do it one year. That's right. Yeah.
Reggie Miller, Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki,
Mark Price,
and then Mark Price.
Yeah, Mark Price is the guy who's got. Mark Price did it like what 2 or 3 times, I think.
And then the only
it just shows who's in the club.
The only women's player was Deladon.
Yeah.
Cool.
Elena Deladon.
She could whoop my ass in basketball. I'll say that.
There's got to be a couple that could beat an average dude.
Well,
right?
she's also huge.
She's massive.
Yeah. She's.
I mean, Brittany Griner would be hard to play. I can't defend her. If she can keep me from stealing the ball from her, I can't. She can't jump.
She would also be just giving you a fucking bow in the face like every possession.
She's gonna back you down. She's not. Yeah. She's not shooting.
She's not gonna be able to back me down. She's not strong enough to do that. There's no fucking way. I don't care how tall she is.
You're gonna get some fingernails. It's gonna get nasty.
That's fine. Then she'll get some too, dude. If we're playing the game, we're playing the fucking game. You know what I mean? But yeah, she could easily, as long as she could just hold the ball up like this with one arm, turn around, and then fucking lay. There's nothing I could do about it.
You're just playing Groot at that point.
Yeah, I'm just trying to climb up her fucking body and steal the ball.
All right, we got some betting picks real quick. Iowa at Wisconsin. As you know, I fucking hate Iowa. Wisconsin is +1. I like them to win outright. That's a home dog, even though I'm picking against several home dogs later.
Iowa's at home.
Wisconsin's a home dog.
Oh, okay. I'll take Wisconsin.
Yeah. Dan, you have a pick on that at all?
I mean, I think Wisconsin is. Again, it's hard to tell with the SEC or Big Ten if anybody in either one of those divisions is actually good. I mean, it looks like Ohio State is pretty good.
Yeah.
But everybody else, I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I don't believe Iowa exists. Never seen any proof of it. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Wisconsin on that. Although Wisconsin's lost some. They get whipped by Michigan.
They did.
And I think Michigan is super overrated. Yeah. Like, that game is closer in the box score than it was on the floor. And I don't know. But that's a rivalry game, too, I guess, in a way.
They just have those games.
The Big Ten's the type of
show
conference where, like, it has 7 rivalries.
Yeah, there's, like every game is a rivalry game.
Right, yeah.
Even if it's, like, fucking Purdue or something.
Yeah, every fucking football game in the Big Ten has a trophy. Like, the bucket, the Big Ten fucking Gopher trophy.
They've all been playing football for a century and a half. They're all pissed off at each other.
The Paul Bunyan axe, like...
Yeah. Wisconsin's really streaky, though, right? So where are they streaky right now? Because they played back-to-backs with Penn State and got beat by 10 and then won by 15 or some shit like that the next game. So it's like...
And they're full of, like, upperclassmen.
Yeah.
So.
Wisconsin's definitely they're the type of school where you're like, oh, upperclassmen, and, like, they're scrappy white
guys. They have all
the
parts.
So the
top scorer is
they've been alternating win-loss for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. And they've been, to be fair, they've been losing to all the really good teams and beating the mediocre to bad teams.
Right.
Except Penn State. They lost to Penn State.
Yeah, but they also beat Penn State. So if you want to just toss that out as a wash, and then everything else is...
They lost to Michigan both times, although Michigan's good. I think they're overrated, but they're good.
Yeah.
Ohio State, they're not going to win that game. Ohio State, at the time, was ranked 15th. That's retarded.
They got a win over your top 10 Ken Pom team, Loyola Chicago.
They do.
Yeah.
They're not messing around. Loyola Chicago started out slow, but they're getting really hot and real dangerous. It's
God, I don't need more Sister Jean in my life.
Ohio State at Penn State. Ohio State is -5. I might buy points, just like 4.5 or something like that. But this feels honestly like a double-digit win to me.
Yeah, Penn State is not good.
No.
At anything anymore.
And
I mean, they're 3-7 in the conference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not good.
And they're a top 40 Ken Pom team, so like the analytics like them, but I think the analytics overrates them because they play so many good teams.
Well, they've lost 3 out of 4, and they've lost 4 out of 6. So
yeah,
a lot of quality losses.
Yeah, but I mean, there are some quality. I mean, that last time they played Ohio State, it was 83-79. Although it was closer, there's some garbage time points there than it seems. But still, I mean, against Ohio State, to be honest, it should be a double-digit game.
Yeah, it's absolutely they should win that game by 8 to 11 points.
Yep, I'll take Ohio State.
Virginia at Duke. Virginia -2.
That's a ludicrous line. That should be Virginia -6, even at Cameron.
Yeah.
Duke fucking sucks, and they just lost their best goddamn player.
Right.
Why is this -2? Is it still -2 on my bookie?
Are they going to go with that classic?
This is all. It's not up on anything yet because it only comes up day of. So this is based on KenPom, and the KenPom lines are about what the lines are.
Does Duke go with the Bill Simmons fucking Ewan theory, where you lose your best player and you become a better team?
Maybe. I mean, it happens sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It does happen.
When did that Johnson news break?
That was early this week, so it was either Sunday.
Okay.
Or,
So it was before
Maybe
these
Saturday.
rankings. It was
Yes.
before the spread came out.
Yes.
So what's with the disrespect with the reigning national again year and a half out, but I mean the reigning national champion who is a ranked team who has a majority upperclassmen, which it seems like that is the solution to winning consistently in college basketball now. So what was it with this -2? Is it something they know we don't?
I don't know.
Well, it's also like any key player on that Virginia national championship team is long gone. So
Right.
For sure, yeah. But I mean, they've not been
coaching gone.
Bennett's still there.
They're having a good season. I mean,
They're good.
This line, sometimes the line will deviate a little bit more from KenPom, so I could see this line ending up being like 3.5 or 4.
But also Duke,
but like still,
I would take it at 5. To be honest,
Duke needs this to like make any type of run.
they do. I mean,
at
this is the kind of
tournament.
game at Cameron Indoor that gets wild for Duke. I mean, they have, you know, they've outkicked their coverage a number of times in situations in that arena over the years. So I could see it happening.
but they
I mean,
don't have fans.
Yeah, they lose this game, and Coach K might just be like, let's cancel the season.
I mean, I don't know if in an NBA arena, it's probably weird to not have fans, 18 to 22,000 people, depending on the arena you're in. And Cameron Indoor, what is it, like 5,000 seats in that whole place?
Yeah, it's a 5,000-6,000.
Yeah. That's got to be weird as
everyone's
fuck.
on
That's
top
like
of you,
that's
yeah.
like playing in a fucking street somewhere,
Yeah.
like in your backyard, or playing
playing
in
in
an
our
empty
studio
gym,
right now.
or like your church basketball gym back in the day, or some stupid shit like that. Like that's tiny. You can hear people fucking breathing in the stands. Like the coaches, you can hear them on the sideline. Probably that's bizarre. So you think this is going to hover around 3, then probably 3.5?
This line probably inflates a little bit, but even still, like this feels like a type of game. Virginia, it might be again. It might like the Ohio State game. It might be a blowout.
I'll take Duke.
You're gonna fade it.
They need it.
I mean, it seems like the kind of game that Coach Fuckface there gets his guys up for, but at 74, does he have it in him anymore? Right. I mean, like if he was motivating the kids on that team, would his best player have just left?
Maybe he knew something before the season because he was like talking about every team making the tournament.
And he wanted to quit the season at one point too. Like he's just like, God
when's that
damn,
back
this
injury
sucks.
gonna come?
Yeah, he's just tired,
And
he wants to be at home with a shawl in his lap, like Andy Rooney ranting about the good old days.
Right.
These kids these days. Shut up, Mike.
For what it's worth, this is not a nothing game for Virginia. They are within range of a 1 seed.
I don't think they are after that Florida State loss.
Maybe not. I mean, look, there's still time. There's still season left.
Yep.
You never know. I mean, you know how it is in college sports. The late losses loom so large for some
Right.
reason, and that there's no fucking statistical relevance to that.
Right.
There's- Like if you look at the teams that have dropped in, it's actually it's a good thing to lose late because you drop in the rankings and you get an easier path to the goddamn through the tournament sometimes, as long as you don't fall into that 5 seed.
And we don't even know.
A lot
if
of
they're
times
gonna
you'd rather be a
play-
4 seed than a 3 seed.
We also
Yeah.
don't know if they're going to play conference tournaments or not, like
Right.
who's going to actually play. And
There's
whatever,
no way they're going to play
historically
conference tournaments.
speaking, like unless you win the conference tournament, it doesn't really affect seeding that
Yeah.
much. So
Yeah. I mean, there's no way conference tournaments are happening, right?
They shouldn't. I don't
Because
know why you.
if you have, even if one major team, one of the top 10 teams, is out because of COVID from the tournament because of conference, that would be, oh god.
Yeah.
Those conference tournaments probably make $20 million each in
But that's
the
with
major
fans,
5.
right?
With fans, but the Final Four makes, or not the Final Four, the goddamn tournament
Yeah.
makes $1 billion, I think, 1.2
Yeah.
1.1, 1.2 in a normal year. No fucking way.
yeah, and you can go with the 68 best teams this year instead of having like those bullshit conference tournament winners that just kind of steal seeds.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I mean, is anybody from the WAC or MAC or any of that stupid shit getting in this year? Because they do that all the time.
Yeah, like if Gonzaga sits the WCC out,
Yeah.
and that conference or the tournament winner of the WCC,
Also,
do they get a spot? Do they get a spot?
Right.
Like no, Gonzaga didn't play.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
The other thing too with Virginia, I will just say also is even if they don't get a 1 seed, they're pretty comfortably a 2 seed right now. You don't want to drop to 3. You want to they don't want to drop to the side of 1 seeds. Like they don't want to be on the same side of a bracket as a 1 seed. So, I mean, they need to win that game too. So I'll just say that. Mizzou at North Carolina, South Carolina. Mizzou is -1. I'm just betting they don't lose 4 games in a row.
Fuck you guys.
I don't know how they lose 4 games in a row.
Yeah,
And
I'll take Mizzou.
They were missing Jeremiah Tillman the last 2 games for a death in the family. He had to go back for a funeral.
Is he related to Karl Anthony Towns?
No.
Is that too soon? I don't know how old.
No,
it's fine.
well,
Is it?
COVID.
It's probably worse to be late on a joke than early, right?
I think there's just a Goldilocks zone where you're an asshole. Like it's glorious if you're super early, and then after a while it's funny again. You know, it's
Like Ari Shafir.
yeah.
Just kidding. That guy's a cunt. Yeah, this game is this is actually pretty interesting because these are like those bubble teams. They'll make the tournament, right? Both.
Well,
these
Mizzou
teams will.
should. I mean, they were a
Mizzou's-
top 10 team last year.
Mizzou's-
or last
Mizzou
week.
is-
Yeah, but they've struggled this year.
Yeah, not
I mean,
great.
they've lost 3 in a row. You said, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And South Carolina's not very good.
They're still Mizzou is still comfortably a tournament team. It's just now it's like they might be more of a 6 seed than a 3 seed if they keep trending the way they're trending. I just don't see how they lose 4 in a row. Like this team's good enough that they shouldn't have a 4-game.
You shouldn't
losing
lose
streak.
to South Carolina.
And it's, yeah,
I mean,
South Carolina.
if they'd lost 4 in a row and they were out of contention for playoff seeding, maybe, but not when they're still in the hunt. There's
Yeah.
no way, right?
They are still in the hunt.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
they're going to
saying.
make that tournament probably
Yeah.
regardless of how they finish the season.
Even if they lose this game,
Yes.
Yeah.
you lose to South Carolina, you lose an in-conference game like that, and you fucking still go to the tournament.
They're ranked 20th right now. Like they're not they're not on the bubble. They're not close to the bubble yet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that seems like a good bet. Then this next one, Michigan at Ohio State. Now, I think Michigan is way overrated. I think Ohio State has had some misfortune and is probably underrated. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Ohio State is better than Michigan.
Right.
But it's in Ohio State.
Yeah. Ohio
that-
State probably, I think they smoke.
I think they
Michigan.
win. Yeah, I think it's. You can say there's certain stadiums and arenas with and without fans. It's going to make a difference. I think in the Big Ten, in a game like this, these two universities hate each other so goddamn much that I don't know if it matters if fans are there or not. Like
Yeah.
this is a motivating game, regardless. I think the fucking what do you call it? The non-varsity teams between these two universities probably fucking hate each other. You know what I mean? So at home, Ohio State has the advantage, obviously.
Yeah, the walk-ons are
it's a
just
one-
trying to one-up each other
Yeah,
with their
pretty
towel
much,
waving.
It's
Yeah.
a 1-point spread. So it's basically just does Ohio State beat
It's
Michigan?
a pick 'em, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could buy a half a point and
Actually make it a pick 'em, yeah.
make it a pick 'em.
Yeah.
Illinois at Minnesota, last game.
Minnesota +5.
Minnesota, give it to me. It's at Minnesota. It's the worst court in America.
Illinois' last 2 road games have gone to overtime. One of them was against Nebraska, who is full dog shit. The other one was a pretty mediocre team as well. Let me see who it was. Indiana's decent. Like Indiana's pretty good. I'll give
Indiana's
them
a
that.
tournament team, yeah.
Yeah. But Illinois looked bad against Nebraska. I don't know what the fucking deal is. Minnesota, Dan, we talk about this all the time on the podcast. Minnesota has the worst court to play on in the country. It's like raised. You know, we talk about like
Yeah.
it just
fucks up with your vision, man. I mean, look,
yeah.
there's very good research in psychology that we have this idea that the mind controls the body, right?
Yeah.
It's not true. Like if you force yourself to smile, for example, your body will produce dopamine and oxytocin, and you will feel in a better mood even if you just force yourself to smile. And I say that because your brain operates on levels that a lot of people don't fucking understand. It seems like muscle memory is the jump shot, right?
Yeah.
The free throw, the fucking jump shot. It is partly that, yes. But all these other factors that come into play, the fact that the stands are lower here because the thing is elevated, will play a fucking role. I don't know if you remember the first time playing competitive basketball when you went from your normal gym at your high school or wherever it was or middle school where the goal's here and then fucking 10 feet away is the fucking this brick, right? And
Maybe
and
some
a pad,
banners,
and a
yeah.
pad, right? Until playing in like a fucking arena where there's just space everywhere and the goal is just sitting there and it's not surrounded by shit.
Your depth perception.
Your depth perception gets way off. I think that is a real fucking thing. So, and I'm sure Vegas knows this.
Yeah.
They're not fucking stupid. They pay attention to Vegas because they're not into losing money. God damn it. This is a good one.
Yeah. So whenever
Illinois
they play,
been streaky, right? So
Yes.
if they come out and can't shoot the fucking ball, it's going to be a close game.
I'm a big fan of taking the under whenever they play in like football stadiums. So like the Final Four, usually they'll play in a bigger stadium. Usually, at least the first half, you take the under, and that usually hits.
Shit.
Yeah, I do kind of like the under there too, because Minnesota and Illinois are both really good offensive teams. And if Illinois just gets cold or whatever, I just like Minnesota in general because Illinois, I do think is going to be a dope team in the tournament. I see them making easily a Sweet 16, probably an Elite 8. But in the meantime, the Big Ten eats itself and at least keeps it close. If not, Minnesota wins it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota's okay, but they can score.
Yeah.
And Illinois
like
can
that.
just leave. They can just lay an egg.
Yeah.
They leave fucking dumps.
Super capable of laying eggs and taking dumps.
Well, that's at +5. You got some room to work with.
Home dog.
Yeah.
Just take the points.
I might honestly sprinkle the money line too if it's like.
What is it?
It's not
Oh, it
out
won't
yet,
come
but
out
if it's
yet,
+5, you can reasonably assume it'll be over
130
2 to
or
1
some shit
odds.
like
It'll be
that.
better than
Oh,
2
you
to
think
1.
it's 2 to 1 at that?
Like 160, 150, 160. Yeah.
That's still.
I think it's a full 2 to 1. I think it's like +200.
We'll see.
Yeah. And then Underwatch real quick. Like we always say, these are games to watch live to see if the under hits or to see if the over-under line kind of jumps up a little bit because sometimes these teams are good offensively, playing a good defensive team, blah, blah, blah. These are games I would watch the over-under line on to smash the under at a certain point. Minnesota, Indiana. Minnesota great at offense. Indiana slow as fuck, great at defense. Iowa, Wisconsin, same situation. Iowa's all offense. Wisconsin's all defense. Virginia at Duke. For whatever reason,
in those games where one team is all offense and one team is all defense, is it more common that the defensive team plays up to the offense or the offensive team plays down to the defense?
Well, Iowa can't play defense either.
Yeah,
So.
Iowa does not play any defense. But it's really so a lot of these defensive teams too. There's teams that rate highly on defense but still play at a fast pace.
Wait, are they? So that was what I was going to ask you. Are these some of these actual defensive teams, or does Iowa hold the ball for fucking 29
No.
seconds?
Iowa's their philosophy is we're going to score more points.
Iowa's
than you.
run. Indiana and Wisconsin
Indiana,
are like,
yeah.
hey, we need to hold the ball for 25 seconds.
Indiana's like a dollar store version
that's
of
not
Virginia
defense.
at this point. Yeah.
Like we have this idea in college, and that's why I hate that fucking long ass shot clock. We have this idea in college basketball that the team that has high possession time and low scoring games plays great defense, but that's not the case all the time. Like sometimes they just fucking hold the ball, and then as soon as the other team is still shooting like 45% from three in the game, you know what I mean? They're shooting like 60% from the field. It's like that's not good defense. You know what I mean? So which kind of team are we talking about here?
Well, they're both like Indiana, for example. They play at the 301st fastest pace in the country.
They play hard.
And they play the 25th best defense. So the pace,
That's pretty fucking good.
The defense dictates the pace a lot of times because they force long possessions.
Well, that's the Warriors model. Everybody thinks the Warriors. I mean, look, they have the two best shooters in NBA history, obviously, but defense
They had the three
feeds
best.
that offense.
Right.
Yeah.
Durant.
I mean, Durant has got that stroke is so smooth. But it's the defense was the catalyst there.
Yeah.
Always. I mean, Draymond's distribution of the ball is nothing compared to the fact that he's listed at 6'7". He is 6'5", and he plays fucking center.
He's got Ben Wallace syndrome.
Yes.
Where Ben Wallace was 6'3".
Yeah.
Yeah.
He playing center for the.
Ben
Pistons.
Wallace is not 6'3". He's like 6'9", right?
No, he's like 6'3".
There's no way he's 6'3".
He's listed at like same thing with Draymond. He's listed way taller than he is.
Well, yeah, I mean for sure. I think he was listed at like 6'10" though, right?
He's
And
listed
actually,
at 6'9",
There's
so
so he's
not a
6'6"
chance.
then, probably.
Not
right?
a chance. He's
Yeah.
like 6'4".
Yeah, but Draymond, I mean, it's very impressive. Ben Wallace is the same. Very impressive to be able to play defense like that at that height. But yeah, if they're one of those teams where the defense feeds the offense, that's a fucking team you don't want to run into in a tournament.
no, there's pack line teams like Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia's the same way. They were fast as fuck that year, man.
Any type of gimmick that you don't usually run into,
Yeah.
you don't want to run into.
I mean, remember that year?
Yeah.
What was it? Fucking 2001 or 2, where Princeton with their backdoor cuts was just beating teams. They got to the Elite Eight, I think, or something like that, the Sweet 16. It's like, what the fuck, Princeton, get the fuck out of here.
Harvard too.
That's Syracuse has made a lot of its bones on playing weird 2-3 zone.
Fucking zone defense.
Yeah.
Speaking of Harvard, fucking Linsanity's happening in the G League now. Why can this guy not keep a job? He's pretty when he plays a full season with a team. Pretty much every year he's had a good season. What's the deal with him?
Won a title in Toronto, right?
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
he didn't play any of that.
Yeah, I know,
year,
but you still got a ring.
But with the Knicks, he played really well. He played really well with the Warriors.
He should go be like we were talking about earlier, like a player who dumps in stats on a shitty team.
Yeah, probably. He would make a lot of money.
Go overseas. Go to China. Go to fucking, I don't know, Europe.
Would he be a commodity there, though?
Maybe Europe.
They like to see white and black players over there. They don't really care about their own. Yeah. I mean, like, look at the movie industry over there. They don't want to see fucking Asian actors. They want to see Matt Damon playing The Great Wall and shit like that.
That was the funniest part about people being pissed about that movie here.
Yeah, that wasn't us that did that. They wanted that shit.
They
That's
asked
who they fucking. I mean, whatever. It's dumb.
Well, you get paid to be white in China, right? You can go be a fake doctor. You could be.
Yeah.
They just you're in a party. You're in a.
What a game.
But
VIP.
Jeremy Lin is he's a seventh man.
Yeah.
That's very valuable. He's not a 14th man.
Right.
He's a seventh man on pretty much any team in the fucking league. At least he was during his peak, and he could never get playing time. I don't know if he's a cunt or some shit.
After he got cornrows, I don't know if he's.
That was embarrassing
anymore.
for everybody. I mean, that was kind of a Rachel Dolezal situation. Like, come on, dude, Jeremy. We know your last name is Lin, bro.
And you're
Probably don't do that.
Not a great.
Just go.
So
never
you got
go
the-
full Tokyo Drift.
So you got underwatch on Clemson and Pitt too. That's actually a pretty competitive basketball game a lot of times. So I agree. That's historically been a competitive game, even when one of those teams had a better team than the other.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Shit, it's kind of like anytime Penn State plays Purdue for whatever reason. Purdue's got like fucking they have like a high school JV team.
Yeah.
And Penn State still can't beat them. Like, what the fuck, man? It wasn't even. It's not always a cancer kid either.
Right.
Like sometimes.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Auburn killed him.
Yeah. Sometimes
Not
it's
a lot
like.
of people talk about that. But
No, well, I mean, look, it's Auburn did that, and Estelle Getty from Golden Girls was involved in 9/11. A lot of people don't know that either.
But that cancer kid, he willed them the victory against Ohio State, and then they lost 70-3, I think, in the bowl game against Auburn. And then he I think he died like that week.
Yeah, it's like that story where, can you hit 2 home runs for me? It's like, nah, sorry, kid. Yeah, so I agree with that one. Wisconsin and Northwestern, that's another one.
So Wisconsin, Northwestern, and Clemson, Pitt, both those games.
Yeah.
Slow. They're all slow bastards.
But I mean, Northwestern's another team that plays tough.
Yes.
They play way outside of their talent level.
Yeah.
Very frequently. So yeah, I can see
These
that.
rock fight teams, and then
Yeah.
Texas Tech at Kansas, same thing. I just love these slow paced teams. That and when they play like a medium.
I mean, that's predictable. It doesn't matter what their shooting percentage is. They're only going to get certain number of fucking shots.
They have
you know
a
what I mean?
ceiling of possessions.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Time for our future real estate agent of the week.
Who you got?
This week, I decided fuck the Power Five. Oh, haha, this guy plays for Duke, but he's a walk-on, and like he's 6'4". Like, let's go into someone who is absolutely like couldn't even get on a good G5 team.
Wow.
Reed Fenton, sophomore guard, 6'4", Lehigh University, one of the most Greek fraternity-centric universities in the country.
They still have a Greek system there?
Yeah.
Because that would make them one of the most Greek-centric now, because half of these fucking universities have gotten rid of that shit.
They're not as into it as they used to be.
No.
Or donations, I guess.
Yeah.
He averages 23 minutes a game. So this guy's not a fucking scrub in terms of, like, he plays for them. He does only average 5 points and 1 assist, but he sees the court 50% of the time
He
or
must
more.
be doing something.
Yeah. Maybe plays good defense. I don't know. He didn't average a lot of steals, but that doesn't obviously necessarily mean you don't play good
Listen,
defense.
you need to put some respect on Lehigh University, all right?
No.
Home of C.J. McCollum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who
Who
else?
beat Duke.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
they beat Duke.
CJ McCollum's Lehigh beat Duke. But typically, this is a school where you run into like them on spring break and you're like, you go fucking where? But then you meet 100 of them and they're all fucking blacked out. Like, and you're like, good lord, who the
Where in
fuck are these kids?
Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy
He's not a bad-looking kid.
This guy is going to, speaking of spring break,
God, he's got an ugly jump shot, though. Jesus Christ. No
he's
wonder
going to
he can't
sell
score.
vacation homes and rentals because Lehigh is so spring break and frat centric.
Yeah.
He's going to go to like Hilton Head and fall in love.
Is he selling
and
timeshares?
timeshare, all that shit?
Fall in
dude.
love with Hilton Head or fall in love with a woman in Hilton Head? Or
Either way,
both?
like
Yeah.
he's gonna be drawn to like the beach.
You don't think he's coming back to Philly, like the Delaware
No,
County area?
he's going to like Myrtle Beach, Hilton Head, maybe like somewhere in Florida.
Charleston, South Carolina, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably going to fall in love like with runner-up from the Miss South Carolina pageant, right? Not the winner, obviously. Yeah. This is he's not a bad looking guy.
No, he's gonna make money.
The jump shot's fucking ugly though. Good God.
But he's not even gonna really get to like.
You don't even
no
get
one's
to
gonna
exploit.
recognize. No one's gonna be like,
Yeah.
hey man, you're from my school, like because there's 2,000 people go there. It's gonna be like a fun fact. Someone will be like, oh, did you play basketball in high school?
You're
Be like,
tall.
No, Lehigh's
I mean,
a
technically, he played Division I basketball,
yes.
right? I mean, that's like somebody saying
It's on his LinkedIn. It's on his resume.
Yeah. You can look it up on the interwebs now. He's on ESPN's website.
Yes.
Yep.
You can look
Forever.
it up.
Probably
So-
doesn't have a profile pic. Probably has that like question mark and
Yeah, it's
the
like just a gray box with a
shadow.
black question mark in it. Yeah.
But this guy's gonna live his best like beach life, just selling timeshares, vacation rentals. He might eventually just own a couple properties and Airbnb them out all year.
yeah. I mean, he could hit that Bucks County market hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Central
He'll know people
Pennsylvania.
back up north to sell that shit too.
People up north love timeshares.
This guy's
Shouts to my parents.
This guy's gonna crush it, dude. He'll be making like, we'll call it like $200K a year, something like that.
That's a lot of money in northern Pennsylvania.
Is it? Yeah. No, like Bucks County, like that area where Lehigh is and everything. I think it's like
I mean, it used to
the
be
houses
all
are pretty nice. They're like $400,000.
brewery and steel workers and shit up there. I mean, what the fuck is up? What's up there?
Well,
It's like-
it's closer to like Philly.
It's-
it's essentially suburban Philly.
Oh, is it really? I don't
Yeah.
know that area.
Yeah.
I know like my northern Pennsylvania, like near New York, is basically upstate New York, but in the southern part of New York.
See where
It's
Lehigh
weird
is
there.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know where Lehigh is.
Pennsylvania
What
might
city
be
is it in?
the biggest state
Lehigh, I think.
in the country
God.
where there's
it's in
just,
Bethlehem. I know where
It's
that
in
is.
Bethlehem. Yeah.
Pennsylvania just has wide swaths that no one wants to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, half the people from that say they're from Pittsburgh are actually from Wheeling, West Virginia. So I don't want to fucking hear it. Okay.
Yeah,
God damn it.
and
If you're from West Virginia, I
the whole
understand.
state-
I wouldn't tell anybody I'm from fucking West.
Most of central Pennsylvania is essentially Kentucky.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I mean, but shit, fucking Ohio is northern Kentucky. Come on, man. Cincinnati, you kidding me with that bullshit? Get the fuck out of here with Cincinnati.
Indiana,
There's a lot of Rust Belt states that really get off the redneck hook because they're just like too far north or something. But it's just
Yeah,
like,
they're hillbillies up there.
Yeah.
If I can, I'll say this about Southern Ohio. If it's a 1-day trip to go to the Creation Museum, too south for me. Like, I can't deal with that shit. Fucking Jesus riding dinosaurs and shit. You fucking kidding me, dude? God damn it. Like, some of the stuff I'm cool with, but fuck that. That's retarded. They spent like $40 million on that place.
instead of like
Ken Ham is the guy's name. He debated fucking Bill Nye, and neither one of them's a fucking scientist.
No.
Right.
Bill Nye's a goddamn mechanical engineer. Get the fuck out of here, dude. God damn it. Well, we have Neil deGrasse Tyson coming on. We're recording that the first week of March.
Fuck yeah. Well, assuming this
He's
city has a
an
Burger King.
actual scientist.
Yes.
Like Brian
Yes,
Keating,
yes.
who we had on
Also a
recently.
former wrestler.
He was a fucking stud. Look
Yeah.
up young Neil deGrasse Tyson.
We should see if he ever came into the studio. Giorgio should try to roll with him.
I love that idea.
He's old and fat now, but he was like a jacked up
He used to be
dude.
jacked, yeah.
I mean, he was
Yeah.
like he looked like he was fighting the power back then.
Right.
Bethlehem.
He's not a
That's-
big sports fan though.
They're just
from what
like-
I've
they
gathered.
Of course he's not. His hero growing up was Carl Sagan.
Yes, but he's just like sports is kind of a waste of time to watch. Which
It kind of reminds me of Chubbs Peterson, like just the super athletic dude that never played football. You know what I mean?
like
But he didn't get his hand bitten off by an alligator though, so that's good.
Yeah.
10,000-foot view. Watching all sports is kind of a waste of time, but so is everything in life.
Life is a fucking waste of
Life
time.
is a waste of time.
God damn
I
it.
think that's a good way to close this out.
It is. Life is a waste of time. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave a review on wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, or whatever it's called, Apple Podcasts now, Google, anything like that. It gets us to the top. It's not about listens. It's about you guys blowing us via these apps, basically. And it really, really helps. Subscribe on the YouTube if you haven't already.
Go make some picks at DraftKings.
Yeah, there's
Yes.
also new hierarchies on Instagram. So saving a post, that little ribbon looking thing,
The bookmark,
is
yeah.
number one. Every single post on Drinkin, Bro, any of our stuff, save that shit, and then comments and likes, so on, and then shares. Or I think it's shares is the second one. So
Yeah,
share
Like
our
the
stuff.
DM share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the little arrow
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, so that's really helpful. We appreciate it.
And yeah, download that DraftKings app. It
What
is
is that promo code?
Bros, BROS. DraftKings.
DraftKings is a massive company. How is it possible that nobody in media has had the code bros before, except for us.
It's
Doesn't make any sense.
yeah.
That's wild as fuck, man. Shit. I mean, I'm glad, but
yeah.
whatever.
Draft
How many
kings.
Uranus jokes will Ross sneak into the if Ross wastes any of my time with Neil deGrasse Tyson, I will shoot him in the fucking legs.
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of time, so
I'll shoot him
get those questions
in his legs like a bunch of times.
Which Dan is usually armed in studio. So
I'm
it's-
always armed
yeah.
in studios. You've never seen me without a gun, my man. No, nor will you.
Several
ever.
guns. Yeah. It's never one.
But yeah, that is it for us. Download the DraftKings app, like, subscribe, all that fun shit. The podcast will be back tomorrow. We're still kind of in flux on the Austin shit. We hopefully will have power. But thank you for listening and watching, and we'll see y'all later.
Adios.